Go get some headphones, Chris.
Yeah. Right in the middle of
I'll bring you some.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you
Thanks,
care
Ty.
which ones they are?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you got over there.
7 people watching. Jeez.
I do. Right in the middle of the freaking segment, he comes walking in. I'm
Here,
starting
you want to do this? Comments from McCrimmon. I'll let you read them.
Yeah.
He's the GM, right?
Yes. Yeah, McPhee's now the, what is he, vice president of player?
Yeah.
Vice president or whatever. Thanks, Ty.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm poking around to see if I can find this press conference stream, then we'll play it at 9:30.
Yeah.
You want to call any of those people on that email? They might answer.
Sure.
Just to, you know, I don't know if they will, but
To come on the air? Or
no. To ask them about the press conference. Tossie, those guys.
Here's what I would think. I would think that the reporters that are traveling with the team would send back a feed online or
Well,
something.
I'll be all over Twitter during the show, so I'll find out what's
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's going to be in the press conference? I wrote it down here.
Their general manager, I guess.
McCrimmon.
Why is JD? How can JD not be? Dude,
It's absurd.
it's a monster story. I mean, for Vegas, it's a fucking monster. You know,
Yeah, it's absurd.
it's the one franchise in town. They got to fire the coach for no reason.
What? He keeps pranking me.
Hello?
Yes?
Hi, I'm looking for Mr. Brian Shapiro.
Yeah, who is this?
Hi, sir. Good day. This is Josh, sir. I'm very sorry to bother you at this time. I'm calling on behalf of Better Loans.
Okay, can you please... Sir, I'm going to interrupt you right now. Stop calling my number. Do you understand?
It's open enrollment season and MediShare. Sir, do you want me to withdraw your application right now?
When I yell at you and I tell you to stop calling my number, what the fuck do you think that means?
MediShare and see if it's a fit for you. MediShare. I understand, sir. I just wanted to clarify everything.
Yeah, we will if you keep fucking calling me, asshole.
Every weeknight,
What the fuck is that?
Fucking telemarketers, I'm sick of it.
The Daily Take on the Vegas Take with Brian Shapiro.
Shapiro fired up about fucking.
No, I get these fucking pranks at like 8, these fucking spam.
We got 8 people waiting. This is the most we've
Yeah,
had waiting. It's crazy. I also put Michael Avenatti in there saying that he was arrested, so everyone was like arrested.
Our best paper yet at our best
And this
price
Vegas
ever.
Takey night, I'm definitely putting that in there too.
Well, yeah, you gotta put that.
That's definitely.
Oh my god, they're calling me back. This is unbelievable.
Hold on. I gotta
And then they hung up.
Oh, dude.
Unbelievable.
January 25th at the Galleria at Sunset. Dozens of vendors with samples and sales of hundreds of all things favorite to women. Want to be a vendor? Go to divasdayout.com for more information. Vendor space is limited.
Transform your bathroom in just one day with the experts at
They're calling me
Reborn
again.
Bath Solutions. Reborn Bath Solutions has been serving Las
Hello?
Vegas for over 3 decades, and right now they're offering 50% off all
Alright,
labor
time to
and
block
1
the number.
full year with no interest and no payments. You can't beat that. Make your appointment online today.
Exiled from TV in Canada. What's he talking? JD talking about? Who's exiled from TV in Canada?
50% off labor, 1 full year of no interest and no payments, plus a $50
Hey,
Bed Bath &
Stein?
Beyond gift card. What are you waiting for? Reborn Bath Solutions. They bring the showroom to you with free in-home appointments at your convenience. Visit rebornbathsolutions.com today. That's rebornbathsolutions.com. Take advantage of this amazing offer. 50% off all labor, 1 full year of no interest and no payments, plus a $50 Bed Bath & Beyond gift card. Reborn Bath Solutions. Where
9
it's done
people.
right.
We're gonna get up to 10?
Here is some
That's like
great
crazy.
news. If you missed the
10. We're at 10.
You got me good on camera.
Let me double check. Can I get you set in that
You
chair?
want to go with this one? Yeah.
Yep. Please, thank you. And let me check their camera.
Perfect. Good right here?
Yeah. Fucking gold, man.
Nice.
Yeah, boom. Let's do this.
Typical savings for a family is about $500 a month. Your savings can be more or less, but think about what you do every month.
So crazy, man.
The high-cost health plan, you can join MediShare anytime. So call them today and check it out. Here's the number to find out.
Yeah, how could JD not be here?
Dude, I mean,
Fucking...
We're about to go on.
Huh?
We're on. Whatever, dude.
What's up, man?
What on?
You all right?
Yeah, you all right, brother?
I'm here.
Yeah, how you feeling?
As good as I can.
That's dope.
Not great.
Really?
I'm on about 8 different medications.
I'm on 4. Just took a steroid before I got here.
You guys are both hopped up on shit.
Just.
We got to be ready to go here, man.
This is a huge story, dude. I mean, this is monstrous.
Well, Gallant.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right. Good morning, Las Vegas. Welcome. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro on a Wednesday. Glad you could join us. Man, I took a sick day yesterday. I'm glad I didn't take the day off today because we got a lot of breaking news to get to. Across the table, it is J.D. Sharp and Chris Wynn joining us on a Wednesday as well. And I have to immediately start with the breaking news, and then I'm going to run down what we're doing the rest of the show today. But this is shocking to say the least. I haven't seen one member of the media in this town that covers the Vegas Golden Knights on a regular basis that isn't as shocked as I am. The news breaking that Vegas Golden Knights head coach Gerard Gallant has been fired. The Vegas Golden Knights making it official this morning in a statement. And you're not going to believe who they hired. I mean, this is shocking as well. They hire basically our rival's former head coach, former from the San Jose Sharks, Peter DeBoer. What's really shocking about this, and we'll get everybody's response to it, to me, my initial reaction was, what? I know that they've been on a little bit of a skid on the road. They haven't playing their best hockey. Year one, year two were beyond extremely successful. They're still a playoff team this year. They're still a winning hockey team. So it leads me to believe a couple things. And again, this is speculation. Nobody within the Vegas Golden Knights media that covers this team knows why exactly this happened. But I can give you my opinion on it, and my opinion of it is this. I believe there's some friction. There had to be something going on within the Knights organization and Gerard Gallant. This isn't just about wins and losses, because it can't be, because it couldn't be justified. And we have some statements from, members of the Vegas Golden Knights management. And they're going to be holding a press conference coming up in about 25 minutes. So we will be hopefully covering that. But to say that this isn't say that it's shocking is an understatement. And I'm going to tell you something right now, guys. And I want to get your thoughts on this. If this guy, DeBoer, is not able to win immediately, and I mean immediately, like this road trip, I'm telling you right now, the Vegas Golden Knights management, they're going to get hammered. Absolutely hammered, and rightfully so. My question is this. Why couldn't you have waited a couple days to do this, during the break? Why do you decide to do it on a road trip when you're not even in town? Why didn't you wait until the break? It makes absolutely no sense to me. If this is the personal reasons or there was friction going on, you have to be able to put that stuff aside, because make no mistake about it, Gallant might have not been great with the media, but he has done nothing short of a phenomenal job in his time here. Phenomenal. Year one, he gets the team to the Stanley Cup Finals. Year two, they probably would have gone to at least the Stanley Cup. In my opinion, they probably would have gone to the Stanley Cup Finals if they get screwed in that series against San Jose. And this year, I know they've been on a little bit of a slide. I understand that. They're still a playoff team. Anything could happen in the playoffs. Maybe wait till the end of the year. But this is insane. This is absurd. Throughout this hour, we're going to take your calls because we want to hear from you, Vegas Golden Knights fans, your thoughts on the Knights firing Gallant. I'm just going to say it right now. I think it's a horrible move, and I think it is a horrible hire. That is my initial reaction to this. We'll take your phone calls at 702-257-5396. We want to hear from you guys out there, the Vegas Golden Knights fans, not members of the media. We want to know what you fans think about this. And by the way, this comes a day after the Vegas Golden Knights announced that ticket prices are going to be going up. So, wow, what a timing. What timing for all this. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. We got J.D. Sharp in studio. We got Chris Wynn in studio. And by the way, before I go to J.D., I want to say this. I want to give him all due credit for this because he's probably the only person in town that thought this. We were talking a little Vegas Golden Knights, I think off the air. And JD looks at me and he goes, "Do you think they're going to fire Gallant?" This is when they started to lose some games. And I looked at him and I said, "Are you effing crazy?" I think that's what I said. I said, "Are you crazy?"
And I probably would have said the same thing,
Yeah.
right, Brian? To JD.
I looked at him and
that point.
I said, "There is no." I said this. I got egg in my face, but I'm not the only one. I said, "There is no chance in hell they fired Gerard Gallant."
Yeah, you actually said that as soon as I think 2 or 3 days ago when I brought it up again. Here's my thoughts on this. The reason that they fired him in this particular timing, in this on this road trip, they don't have a lot of experience. Bill Foley doesn't have a lot of experience owning a hockey team. I think this is kind of a rookie move, firing him right now in the middle of a road trip. I agree with that. But is it a shock to me that he was fired? No, because he treats the media really, really poorly. I think that if he treats the media poorly, he probably has some friction and some issues with the powers that be on the Knights as well.
Yeah, but JD, you can't make.
And again, Brian, and I think that the reason that he does treat the media as poorly, or at least as he did, is because he won so much. And when you win that much, you have that latitude. But when you lose games to the Kings and the Sabres, and you're 24-19, and you're 5th in your division, and you may be a playoff team, you may not be. Also, am I shocked they made this move? I mean, the Knights have been more than willing to make trades and to cut loose players. I mean, more than who has made more trades in the NHL than the Knights in the last 3 years?
Okay, with that being said, let me just respond to something quickly.
There's no one that's made as many trades as the Knights have
I
in the last couple of years since they joined the NHL. So I'm not shocked that they made this move because they're not afraid to make moves.
Okay, but in my personal opinion, the way a coach treats the media, Scotty Bowman was not the greatest to the media for years. He's going to go down as one of the best hockey coaches of all time. This to me, this has nothing to do with the way he's treated the media. I think it has a little bit to do with trades, and here's why. Here are some of the rumors I've heard over the course of the last couple of years. Gallant has been against a lot of the moves that they've made with management. Now, that might or might not have had something to do with this. Chris, what do you say?
I have some very poignant opinions on this, but I want to talk. I want to actually send out to you guys General Manager Kelly McCrimmon on Twitter today through the Vegas Golden Knights Twitter feed. Quote unquote, "In order for our team to reach its full potential, we determined our coaching change was necessary. Our team is capable of more than we have demonstrated this season. Also, we would like to thank Gerard and Mike for their service to the Vegas Golden Knights. Of course, Gerard Gallant was also, but Mike Kelly, the assistant coach, has also been let go. They were both instrumental to the success we have enjoyed for our first 2+ seasons, and we will wish them all the best moving forward." I'm chuckling, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. Also, Kelly McCrimmon, we are excited to welcome Peter and his family to the Vegas Golden Knights organization. We look forward to a strong finish to the 2019-2020 season with Peter at the helm and a successful tenure in the seasons to come. There are adjectives that I can use that across the board, and they have been used already here in Las Vegas by everybody out there. Whether it's unreal, whether it's unbelievable, whether it's completely ridiculous, whether it's complete lunacy. This is unreal, to be quite honest with you, Brian and JD. Gerard Gallant, and look, JD, I absolutely respect and understand what you're trying to say. There has to be much more to this than just about Gerard Gallant with the media, Gerard Gallant as record-wise. This has to be something. Let me finish, JD. This has to be something with Gerard Gallant and upper management. It has to be something with George McPhee and Gerard Gallant. There is utterly no reason whatsoever you would let a coach go 2.5 seasons into a expansion franchise. Let me say that again. This is an expansion franchise that went to the Stanley Cup Finals in year 1, that has an over 500 record for the 2.5+ years it's been here. It has, for all intents and purposes, Brian and JD, been a measurement as a gold standard for the NHL. There's been nothing but positive things been said about this organization.
I agree. Let me just make a point to what you just said. You can make the argument in the last 20 years, the last 2 decades,
yes, what
Gallant has done here in 2 years is arguably one of the best coaching jobs in the NHL.
Yes.
And you can make that argument, right?
And in the middle of season 3, Brian and JD, because they're on some type of, I don't care if they've lost freaking 15 games in a row.
Okay, but JD
There's
disagrees
still
with us a little
5 games
bit.
over 500. Well, he absolutely does.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
there's
and
still
it's-
5.
it's a very-
There's still 5 games over 500.
It's a very-
If they're in the playoff race. I don't understand this move whatsoever.
Go ahead,
unless
JD.
there's
Right.
something between McPhee and Gerard Gallant.
Well, I think there's definitely something between McPhee and Gerard Gallant,
Yeah.
or
There
Bill,
has to be, right?
or
Yes.
Bill Foley and Gerard Gallant.
There's something going on we don't know.
Something different. But I think that the way he handled that reporter and he walked out of that meeting was indicative of what else has been taking place. I think that means that there is stuff going on behind
That's
the
a
scenes.
valid point. What
That's
he
a valid
just
point
said.
about about that.
Like he has some type of pressure that no one really knows
Do
about.
you think? Let me ask you.
It's a very hedonistic, what have you done for me lately type of move by the Knights. But the trajectory for the team, in my opinion, was negative. And with the prices increasing, and my question is, what if DeBoer starts? What if DeBoer starts the next 2 years? We'll say a little under 5. What if he finishes?
Forget about the first 2 years. How about the first 2 weeks?
Okay, that's not going to happen.
That's speculation,
But I'm
though,
saying,
JD.
let's say they give him a year and a half and he doesn't perform. They don't make the playoffs next year.
They look stupid.
Well, not only do they look stupid, do they fire again? I mean, is it just a constant cycle of new coaches for the Vegas
See,
Golden Knights?
I'm gonna take it a step further than that. I'm telling you right now, if he doesn't, they're not playing a lot of good teams for the rest of the way on this road trip.
DeBoer is a good coach, by the way.
I'm telling you right now.
DeBoer has no more credibility as a head coach than Gerard Gallant in the NHL
I
by
agree.
any stretch of the imagination.
I agree.
He hasn't done anything. But Peter DeBoer, JD, and Brian, Peter DeBoer lost in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year after they were gifted the next round because of that Game 7 against the Golden Knights. What has Peter DeBoer done in the NHL? Any of us that follow the NHL and that cover the NHL and the Golden Knights.
And by the way, if you
there's no reason Peter DeBoer's a better coach than Gerard Gallant.
I'm just going to say this right now because I've interviewed DeBoer before in person. If you want to find a guy that has maybe less of a personality than Gerard Gallant, you did a great job. This guy is also not great with the media. Okay, this guy is not very long-winded. I hope he treats the media well. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to take it a step further than what JD said. I'm not looking into next year. I'm looking into this year. Let's just say they squeak into the playoffs and they lose in the first round. I'm telling you, the Knights organization, they are going to take a lot of flack for this decision, and they're going to have egg on their face. It starts right now. This guy better win, and the players better respond. I'm curious how the players are going to respond to this. I'm very curious in the next few weeks. But this is surprising.
And here's the stat about DeBoer. He's actually one of the only coaches who has made the Stanley Cup Finals with 2 different teams in his first year coaching that team.
There's got to be some type of positive to hiring the guy.
He is actually a very accomplished coach. And when
I'm telling you, he's not accomplished though.
No,
JD, he hasn't won anything.
How is that not accomplished, Chris? Making the Stanley Cup Finals twice. Or once with 2 different teams.
They're going to have to put. They're going to put a shiny. They're going to put a shiny light on this, and they're going to try to accentuate the positive by hiring this guy. But the circumstances are absolutely extraordinary, JD. They're extraordinary. You're hiring the coach, okay, who last year benefited because of the lunacy that took place in that Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They proceeded to lose the very next round. There's a reason why Peter DeBoer got fired in San Jose. He got bounced out in San Jose. There's a reason why.
It sounds like business as usual to me, Chris.
If you're just joining us, if you're just tuning into the Vegas Take on KDW and the breaking news that we are following, the shocking news, there's not one person in the media that saw this coming. I'm talking about people that cover the team on a daily basis. Nobody knew this is coming. What happened? The Vegas Golden Knights have announced that they have fired the head coach, Gerard Gallant, and 2 of his assistants. And we're taking your phone calls on this. We want to know what you guys think out there. What do you think about the firing of Gerard Gallant? I think it's the wrong move. I think it's a huge mistake, and I want to give out the phone number, 702-257-5396. Again, that number if you want to be a part of this conversation as a Vegas Golden Knights fan, as someone who watches games. What do you think about this move? It is absolutely fair, in my opinion, to be critical of this move, and we want to get your thoughts. Again, that number is 257-5396.
And let's be honest, so he gets fired. DeBoer is announced as a new coach within 15 minutes of the firing.
Well, because this was in the works, obviously.
This was in the works. Yeah. So is it a shock that Gerard Gallant responded to that reporter the way he did and walked out of the meeting? No, I'm guessing that he is.
So for people who don't know what you're talking about,
for
people that don't know what you're talking about, this was about a week and a half ago. The Vegas Golden Knights defeated the Philadelphia Flyers at home. Philadelphia Flyers are a pretty good hockey team. And then after the game, Gallant was asked a question, which I thought was a fair question by David Schoen from the Review Journal. And it was, hey, you guys have struggled against the elite teams in the NHL. It was basically, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's basically what the question was. Why is that? And he's right. It was a fair question. And Gallant just ripped this reporter apart, which I thought was very unfair. I didn't like the way Gallant responded. And, perhaps that's the way he was responding to management. Perhaps they were having conversations.
And I'm guessing that is the way that he was responding
probably.
to management.
And you know what? Unfortunately, when you're management, and look, there have been a lot of great coaches, and not just the NHL, NBA, NFL, a lot of great coaches that have had really volatile relationships with management, but you have to be able to put that stuff aside, and you have to be able to say what is best for the franchise. I find it hard to believe that if you are in the Knights front office, you truly believe in your heart that hiring DeBoer right now and firing Gerard Gallant is the best scenario for this franchise. Let's take some calls. 702-257-5396. Reaction to the Knights announcing just about an hour ago that they have fired head coach Gerard Gallant. Let's start off with Paul. Paul, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. What do you think of all this?
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Stupid. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You think about it. Now, this guy took an expansion team, and what I said when this team came out and made to the finals and lost, I said that's the worst thing that could have happened because now they can only go down instead of up. The only way they can have a better season is to win the NHL title. And, this guy should have been given he didn't fail. He's not doing great.
Right.
But he didn't fail yet. And, they need all these franchises need to look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't stand them, but how many coaches have they had and look at their success?
Yeah.
Stability is what they need.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with ego. I don't think Phil Jackson got along with Reinsdorf, did he?
That is a perfect example, Paul, of what I was just talking about. Phil Jackson did not get along with management. Pat
He did
Riley.
pretty good, though, right?
Yes, Pat Riley, at times when he was the Laker coach, did not get along with management. He won championships.
I think he also was that way with the Knicks, too, right? That's
with
why he ended up
and with the
taking control of
Knicks,
the Heat.
Jeff Van Gundy won a lot of games for the New York Knicks, didn't get along with management. The list goes on, Paul, and that's a great point that you brought up. You have to be able to put this aside. Paul, I hope I'm wrong when I say this, but you can tell me whether you agree with me or not. I think when we're looking at this decision a year from now, they're going to have egg on their face, and it is going to, when we look back on this a year or two, we're going to say, what an awful decision.
If they do or they don't, it wasn't worth the risk, and I think it was wrong. And I think sometimes office people need to stay in the office and coaches need to stay on the ice.
That's a good point, call. Really good call. I appreciate it. Good point, Paul. We appreciate your phone call. Thank you. You too.
Yeah, good call, Paul.
702-257-5396. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Brian?
Hey, gentlemen. I think what happened was the coach talked to Mr. Foley the way you did to that telemarketer before you guys went live on the air this morning, Brian.
How'd you know about that?
Well, it went out live on YouTube.
Oh, okay. That's great. I did not know that.
That's awesome.
I did not know that. That's good to know. That's good to know. Anyway, what do you
Also,
think?
are you going to have a live call from jail with Mr. Avenatti today?
We will be talking about Michael Avenatti later, so we really don't want to bring that up right now. We'll be talking it up later in the program. What is your take on this hockey situation?
Boy, it's crazy. I was shocked as you guys are. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had to turn on TV and see what was going on.
I'm not shocked, Brian. I brought this up a couple of times. I'm really not shocked. But I think part of it is the fact that Fleury is definitely in the downswing of his career, and maybe they are attributing the success of that first year and since Gallant has been coached to Fleury just being an exceptional goaltender. Because let's be honest, the defense has not been good this year. The shots have not been good for the Knights.
Number to call, by the way, if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396 is the number to call following the breaking news that the Vegas Golden Knights have fired head coach Gerard Gallant. And I think this is the telling thing of it all. I cover UNLV a lot more than the Vegas Golden Knights. I go to a lot, just about every UNLV game. I don't go to every Vegas Golden Knights game. We don't go to many of the practices. But, when they fired Marvin Menzies, I knew the day before that it was going to happen. It was in the works. And there was speculation a month or two, 3 months, 4 months, even a year before they fired Marvin Menzies at UNLV. We kind of speculated that this could probably happen. Nobody was shocked when she fired Marvin Menzies. There's not one member of media that I've spoken to or that I've seen on social media that says, I told you this is going to happen.
No.
I saw this thing coming. Not one person.
Let's be completely honest here. The biggest part of this story has yet to drop, Brian and JD, okay? The biggest part of this is the relationship between, obviously, McPhee and or Bill Foley, the owner, with them and Gerard Gallant. That is absolutely what's going to come into play here as far as the reasoning. behind firing him because you cannot justify. You can break it down all you want and talk about records and players injured and not injured and playing well and not playing well. We are 2.5 years into a franchise that went to the Stanley Cup Finals in year one, that has an over 500 record. You're not going to make a coaching decision based on a 2, 3, 4, 5 game winning or losing streak. This has absolutely something to do with relationships between the coach and upper management.
And by the way,
or ownership.
I have a quote from Kelly McCrimmon as well. McCrimmon says, quote, "We have a proven, experienced head coach now who we believe can help us achieve our ultimate goal. We are excited to welcome Peter and his family to the VGK organization. We look forward to a strong finish to the 2019-20 season with Peter at the helm." Wow.
Proven and experienced head coach, and
That
insinuating
is
that Gerard Gallant is not.
That is exactly what that's. But you know what? There's been 7 other coaches fired in the NHL this year. The season is halfway over. So it was if they were going to do it this year, this was the right year to do it because this has happened. There's been a lot of turnover all over the NHL.
I disagree. I don't think you can run your franchise just because
based on other franchises.
Trending.
Yeah.
Listen.
I'm saying they're not going to get a lot of heat for this because a lot of coaches have been fired in the NHL this year.
But let's not overthink this, and I don't think we are, by the way. The bottom line here is this. Nobody can look me in the eye and tell me from that organization that they think this organization is in a better spot now with DeBoer at the helms. Nobody can say that with a straight face.
Have you watched the games this year, Brian? I've watched 5 of these games this year. I'm telling you, the team does not look anywhere as good as it did the last 2 years.
Understandable.
Based on what? Brian, they're 24-19. They're in the middle of a road trip. Fleury is aging. Fleury is not playing
That's
great.
not Gallant's fault.
Sabres, they lost to the Sabres and the Kings 2 nights in a row. I mean, they're not playing great. There's a chance that they're not going to make the playoffs, and I'm guessing that
I think they make the playoffs.
I'm guessing that they thought they weren't going to make the playoffs by making this decision. They're 24-19.
JD, it doesn't change.
They're fifth in the Pacific Division, Brian. Why would they make the playoffs at this point?
You're talking about stuff on the ice, JD. It does not change the extraordinary circumstances surrounding all of this story as far as firing Gerard Gallant and then hiring Peter DeBoer. Gerard Gallant hasn't even been back to his office to take his nameplate off of it.
Right.
They haven't even been back in
Chris,
Vegas, and Gerard Gallant's no longer the head coach, but DeBoer is now the head coach 5 seconds later. It is an extraordinary story. And from the onset, your first reaction as someone who's played the sport and followed the sport and covered the sport, and it's just absolutely unreal that these are the circumstances that we're looking at as far as the Vegas Golden Knights are concerned.
And Chris, it's extraordinary, but obviously it's been in the works for probably 2 weeks to a month.
Well, we're speculating. We're going to find out.
So here's the breaking news. We're going to take a break and take your phone calls. The Vegas Golden Knights have fired head coach Gerard Gallant. There's not one person in the media that saw this thing coming. This is shocking. I'm just flat out saying it, as we all are. This is probably not a very good decision, but we're going to take your phone calls on this. 702-257-5396. Your thoughts on the Vegas Golden Knights firing Gerard Gallant, who, in my personal opinion, has done a phenomenal job in the 2.5 years he's been here. The number to call if you want to chime in, 702-257-5396. We're going to take a quick break, and we will get right back to all your phone calls when we come back. This is the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDAWN.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Have you been lied to by Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine? Hi, I'm Inc. Magazine bestselling author Brett Kitchen. And if you're over 55 with an IRA or 401k, I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because according to Time Magazine, Wall Street's 401ks have failed millions of Americans. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough. And since then, I discovered a way to grow money potential double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free book and talk to a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose in the next market crash.
Call 800-436-8181 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 800-436-8181. 1-800-436-8181. That's 1-800-436-8181.
Senate impeachment trial manager Jerry Nadler says when the House gives the Senate the articles of impeachment later today, the Senate will have to answer to history.
The Senate is on trial as well as the president. Does the Senate conduct the trial according to the Constitution to vindicate the Republic? Or does the Senate participate in the president's crimes by covering them up?
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
This great process of last constitutional resort will be watered down into the kind of anti-democratic recall measure that the Founding Fathers explicitly did not want.
The entire Russian government is resigning after Vladimir Putin proposed sweeping reforms that could extend his decades-long grip on power. The U.S. and China have, as expected, signed a Phase 1 trade deal. No word when talks for Phase 2 could begin. The Dow up about 160. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by the Exogen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. The accident I-15 northbound approaching Tropicana remains active. It is off to the right, not blocking the through lanes, but there is slowing. No delays. 15 southbound, a nice complete recovery there on the surface streets. A crash, injury sustained at Desert Inn at Valley View. And police and fire with another injury crash. It's going to be on Southport Apache Road, just north of Flamingo. Is your family ready for cold and flu season? The flu brings a fever, so be prepared with a thermometer you can trust. The Exogen Temporal Scanner, backed by more than 80 clinical studies. Visit exogen.com. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hear that sound? After you've been hurt in a wreck, that's the sound of the value of your case going down. Every second you wait to get medical treatment and to get a lawyer can greatly affect the value of your case.
After you've been hurt in a wreck, stop the clock by calling Lerner & Rowe. We'll immediately get working on your case, getting you the medical treatment you need, and in most cases, with no out-of-pocket expenses, even if you don't have health insurance.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 877-1500.
Scott Guido, managing attorney. Kevin Rowe is only licensed in Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, and Illinois.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Chris Wynn also joining us in studio following the breaking news that took place, about an hour or so ago, and that is that the Vegas Golden Knights have parted ways with head coach Gerard Gallant. Shocking to say the least. There are some players in the NHL that are responding to this. None other than, if I had to mention, Evander Kane. Evander Kane tweeted out a picture of 3 smiley faces, hashtag had to. There are other players around the league that are responding to this. And the reason why this is interesting, and Evander Kane is close to this because this is his former coach, former San Jose Sharks coach, Peter DeBoer, is now the head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. You can also question the timing of this. Why did they decide to do it when they were on a long road trip? Why didn't they wait a couple days until they had a break? Why didn't they do it when they were in Las Vegas? Why decide to fire a coach because they've been on a little bit of a skid? They're still a playoff team. We've seen teams with this record midway through the season that have won the Stanley Cup.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, I'm not insinuating that I think the Vegas Golden Knights would have gone that far, but what I am saying is NHL is a very fickle sport, and what I mean by that is just because your record isn't 40-10 doesn't mean you're going to win the Stanley Cup, and you've seen teams with 8 seeds make the Stanley Cup Finals before, so it's shocking to me, guys, and we're taking your phone calls at 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call is 257-5396. We have the press conference live right now. This is the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights right now speaking to the media. Here it is.
Do you want to get in on that? Talking about Stoner.
Well, I think with Martin's
Do we not have the audio? That didn't sound really good. Anyway, we're taking your phone calls at 257-5396. When we do have that live audio, we will bring it to you. That sounded absolutely horrible, so we're not going to play that on
I
there.
really enjoyed that.
But anyway,
that went great.
257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we go straight to the phone calls? Let's go to Ed. Ed, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What do you think about this decision?
Hi, Ed.
Ed, are you there?
Hello, Ed.
Did we lose Ed? It sounds like there's somebody there. Ed, last chance. All right. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, we're following the breaking news that the Vegas Golden Knights have parted ways with head hockey coach Gerard Gallant. I don't think there's one person in the media. There's certainly not one person in this studio that saw this coming. Even though JD did, raise the question, do you think they could fire him? All right, we're going to go back to the press conference now. Here is a live press conference with the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights. Here we go.
Good afternoon. The Golden Knights organization announced this morning that we relieved head coach Gerard Gallant and assistant coach Mike Kelly from their coaching duties with our team. We would like to thank both men for their contributions during their time here. Together, we shared some real special moments over the course of their time as coaches. We'd also at this time like to welcome Peter DeBoer as the next coach of the hockey club. We're excited with the skill set that he brings to this job, what he can do for our team. With respect to what was behind the decision, as a manager, sometimes you have a feeling that something isn't the way you need it to be or want it to be. We feel we've underperformed a little bit, and certainly that's not to pile out at the feet of Mike and Gerard, but sometimes you feel a change is needed. So that was what went into the decision. Like anything we do, we try to do what we genuinely believe is in the best interests of the Golden Knights organization, and that's what we've done in this case.
It wasn't that long ago you won 4 in a row, so how long had you contemplated making this?
It wasn't a specific block of games or a specific game. It's hard to put into words, I guess, unless you've done these jobs. But it's more just just the feeling that you have that a change might be needed. And I wish I could be more specific than that, but that's really how we felt. We thought about this a lot. It certainly wasn't something that we did in haste or something that we did based on, as you touched on, the recent 4 games. It was a decision that was arrived at over time.
Why Peter DeBoer?
I think Peter's a really good coach. He's had a lot of success in the National Hockey League. Of course, with him working most recently in the Pacific Division, we've had a chance to watch his teams play. I think that his teams are always very well prepared, very well coached. We expect that he'll do a really good job for us. I think he's a very respected coach in the industry.
To have Pete lined up right away, when was the first time you reached out to him?
This is all in the last 24 hours that any
at
of this has gone on. So it came together very quickly, thus the announcement here today.
When you say the team has underperformed, what specifically has not gone as well as you think it should?
Well, again, Jesse, it's hard for me to get into specifics. I think that you've seen consistency issues. I think that's part of it. And again, I can't be more clear that that's not necessarily at the feet of the two guys who were relieved today. But I think our team has more to give, and that was what went into the decision.
What element do you think that Peter DeBoer brings that will get you over the top or get you back on track or whatever you're looking for?
Well, I think he's always been a coach that has a lot of respect from his players. I think he relates well with players. He's an intelligent guy. Teams have always been very strong special teams. He's been to the Stanley Cup Finals with two different teams. He's enjoyed a lot of success in the National Hockey League as a coach, and I think with this opportunity, he'll continue to do that.
And then assistant coach spot is also open. Do you plan on moving someone into that?
For the time being, we'll bring Peter into our staff and carry on with Ryan Craig, Ryan McGill, and our video coach Tom Cruise.
Do you expect Peter to be here for practice tomorrow?
I believe Peter will be in either late tonight or early tomorrow morning.
Can you talk? I don't want to go back to your decision to relieve Gerard, but did you go into this season wondering how this is going to play out, or is it just over the last few months, if you will?
No, we are like a lot of teams, had real high hopes for the year, still have real high hopes for the year, and we're in
you are listening
unique
to
position where
Kelly McCrimmon.
we're right in the
Can you
mix.
pod that down for a second, please? Thank you. If you're just joining us, we're listening to the Vegas Golden Knights general manager Kelly McCrimmon giving his, I guess you could say, press conference, impromptu press conference.
It's just so hard, though, Brian,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's so
Yeah.
hard to make a justification on something that's so drastic and is clearly obvious.
All right, we're gonna continue the press conference. Here it is. This is general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights, Kelly McCrimmon.
The events that have taken place, and that's where we are today.
Thanks, folks.
All right, there you go. It looks like that's the end of the press conference. Boy, that was pretty quick. Okay, let me just highlight some of the things that McCrimmon, the Vegas Golden Knights, said. If you're just joining us, they fired their head coach Gerard Gallant earlier today. You want to talk about being very, very vague in this decision? That's what Kelly McCrimmon. He said he had a feeling. He said there were consistency issues.
Which there
he
were.
said
Which there absolutely were.
a change needed to be made. You don't fire a coach based on a feeling. There's something he's not telling us, okay? Now, if you want to say that, he said it wasn't a block of games. So if it wasn't a block of games and you're not happy with the consistency, boy, I think he's been pretty consistent. The Vegas Golden Knights have been consistently a really good hockey team for 2.5 years. You want to talk about, I'm going to say this right now. I've been covering sports, so have you, Chris. For 20 years, I've been in the media covering all different types of professional teams, okay? Wasn't always in Vegas. I'm going to say this right now.
And college teams.
And college teams. I have never heard a general manager be so vague after firing a head coach. You want to talk about now, if he said, look, we're not winning hockey games, and yes, this last block of games, started it, I would have said, okay, I think that's an impulsive decision, but at least we're getting into his mind. We are not getting into Kelly McCrimmon's mind at all. He was so vague in that press conference.
Okay, so based on Kelly McCrimmon's press conference and Donald Trump briefing Congress as far as his reasoning behind killing Qasem Soleimani, what's more justified at this point, in your opinion?
I certainly don't want to compare politics and Donald Trump to the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I just want to focus on this press conference. Am I wrong, guys? You don't think he was vague there?
Oh, 100% he was
Brian,
vague.
You expect to know every single detail always. And if you don't know every single detail always, then it's the wrong decision and it's not justified.
Okay, defend me here, Chris.
Here's the
do
deal.
I expect to know everything?
It's going to get played out here in the next few days as far as the real reason why this happened. Another quick tidbit that was pointed out also on Twitter about 10 minutes ago. This decision apparently by McCrimmon and company, it was made in the last 24 hours. Okay?
I don't believe
so
that
I don't
at
want,
all.
Well, then you're basically justifying, how this has become such a mess, JD. This is not something that press conference was extremely general and extremely vague. The real reason why Gerard Gallant is no longer the head coach and Mike Kelly's no longer the assistant is going to be on display in the next few days, maybe even in less time than that.
Listen, you know what?
If the people who cover the team and the people that are the day-to-day beat writers on this team do their job, we are going to find out the real reason why Gerard Gallant no longer is the head coach.
You know, when you're talking to someone, I'm gonna make a comparison to gambling. You know, when you're talking to somebody and they pick lottery numbers or they pick a number on the roulette wheel and maybe they hit, and then you ask them, wow, why did you pick that number? And their response is usually, I just had a feeling. You got to go with your gut. Or if they have 15 or 16 in blackjack and the dealer's showing a 5 or 6 and they hit, and you say, what the hell are you doing? And a dumb gambler will respond by, I just had a feeling. The same applies here, in my personal opinion, as the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights. You don't fire a coach because of a feeling. You fire a coach because of results. Now, if you want to argue the fact, like you said, that they haven't been consistent, fine. Let's see what he would have done the rest of the season. Let's see what he would have done in the playoffs, assuming he would have gotten in. But firing this guy midseason, let me tell you something. If they don't make the playoffs, boy, is this Vegas Golden Knights team going to take a lot of heat, man. You want to talk about a coach in the NHL that probably has more pressure on him than anybody in the league right now? It is Peter DeBoer. He is getting into a situation now where the fans are going to be restless. The media is going to be all over him. What does he bring to the table that Gerard Gallant did not bring to the table? I don't understand.
And here's the thing, okay? I maybe be able to get on board or understand the reasoning or the rationale if this team was maybe under 500, right? Out of the mix, had no chance to make the playoffs. This is a team that is 5 games over 500. And Kelly McCrimmon comes out and says, I think our team is capable of more than what we've demonstrated this season. What do you want to be? 20 games over 500? You want to be you want to be cemented as the best team in the Western Conference? 2.5, 3 years into your existence?
JD,
it is absolutely utterly ridiculous.
But we have to
as
understand
far as the
this.
expectations
Now,
of this talent.
Chris, you and I agree. We know that. JD, I'm going to assume that there are some fans out there that are going to take your side. So where are we wrong?
I've actually had conversations with several fans, just kind of, one time I was at the bank, one time I was at the dentist, just basic conversation. And they were saying, I think that Gallant is not doing a great job this year. I don't like the way that he handles the media. I don't think he's the right guy for the job. I've had several fans tell me that in just passing conversations. I'm telling you, Brian, Gallant, I think he thought he was untouchable after what he did in year one. And that was outstanding what he did. But you have to say, Fleury played outstanding that year.
Here's what I think. A lot of fans were surprised when Gallant got fired in Florida, right? Well, what's wrong?
I was in the middle of my...
Oh, go ahead, finish. I thought you were finished.
How would you think I was finished?
Go ahead.
How is it possible that you would think I was finished?
Go ahead.
I'm curious. Like, how did you... in the mid sentence, or we'll call it a borderline monologue. How did it occur to you that I was finished? Like, what made you think that I was actually done?
Why are you so angry? I'm giving you a chance to finish. I'm sorry if I interjected.
I would just like to know.
Go ahead. All right, we'll take a break. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
He didn't know that you're done.
No, we'll take a break and be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here, Sharp and Shapiro. We're following the breaking news that Gerard Gallant has lost his job as the Vegas Golden Knights head coach. We're taking your phone calls at 702-257-5396. Also, we have a lot of other things to get to, including the WNBA, a new CBA deal in effect with the WNBA. Ariel Chambers from the Bleacher Report is reporting on this. I'm going to tell you why I disagree with it completely. It has something to do with the fact that the WNBA is not making money. We'll talk about that. Alex Cora, the Red Sox have fired him, and Pete Rose is responding. We will get to that as well. And, there was a pretty big debate last night, a big Democratic debate, and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren went at it. We'll talk about that. But coming up next, Michael Avenatti was arrested last night. This is a guy that has been on our show every week, probably for the last, 5 or 6 months, something like that. You're going to get our thoughts on this, and we're going to talk about it, even though there's not a lot of information. So we'll get to that next. Our thoughts on Michael Avenatti, a guest that has been on our show every week for the last 5 or 6 months. We'll get to that coming up next and give you the details, or as much as we can coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Finally ready for a year you can remember? Let 2020 be the year you finally regain control of your drinking without having to quit completely. Meet LifeBack, a physician-approved, completely private, personalized plan for kicking problem drinking to the curb. Using a combination of medication proven in clinical studies to reduce the urge to overdrink in 92% of people and in-app coaching and support tools, LifeBack makes drinking a choice rather than a habit or need. Every aspect of your LifeBack plan is managed on our mobile app from the privacy of your phone, and medication is delivered discreetly to your doorstep without the need for in-person doctor appointments. Start the LifeBack program now and treat yourself to a 2020 full of sharper focus, better health, saved money, and stronger relationships while still enjoying moderate drinking. Visit lifebac.com or call 888-959-8858 today to learn more. That's lifebac.com or call 888-959-8858 today. Call LifeBack today at 888-959-8858.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
Have you been lied to by Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine? Hi, I'm Inc. Magazine bestselling author Brett Kitchen. And if you're over 55 with an IRA or 401k, I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because according to Time Magazine, Wall Street's 401ks have failed millions of Americans. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough. And since then, I discovered a way to grow money potential double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free book and talk to a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose in the next market crash. Call 800-436-8181 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 800-436-8181. 1-800-436-8181. That's 1-800-436-8181.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Shapiro, Chris Wynn joining us in studio as well. We'll continue to monitor this. Trust me, this isn't a story that's going away. The Vegas Golden Knights firing head coach Gerard Gallant. I would imagine in the next 24 to 48 hours, we will probably get some more information. At least I would hope so, because you want to talk about a vague press conference. That was certainly it.
And Brian, no shortage of viewpoints, of course, across the board for everybody on this, because it's a wild story.
That's good. Look, I think the majority of people are going to disagree with this. I think there's going to be a small percentage of people that are going to agree with it based on some of the voting polls that I've seen already. Like about 90% of fans disagree with this. But hey, we'll see what happens here. If this guy turns the team into a not just a playoff team, but a good playoff team, then you could look back and say this guy's a genius. Anyway, let's move on now. A guy that has done our show for the last 5 or 6 months. Some people would call him a controversial figure. Always enjoy having him on because I think Michael Avenatti is an extremely intelligent guy. I think he is a good interview. I think he's entertaining, and that's why we have him on a weekly basis. And by the way, we will continue to do so unless we can't any further or he declines to come on. But news came out yesterday. It made national news. Laura Ingraham was talking about it. Tucker Carlson was talking about it last night, and even CNN, too, was talking about it, that Michael Avenatti was arrested during a court hearing for violating a pretrial release. What we know is, according to police, they say he posed a threat of substantial harm to the public when he was taken into custody. Now, as he was being taken into custody, Avenatti said completely innocent to the media as he was walking out. There's supposed to be a bail hearing this afternoon at 2 p.m. I also will say this and share a little private information. Whenever I text Michael Avenatti, it could be about anything. It could be about breaking news, anything involved the show, or even anything in a private, he usually always gets back to me. He's usually really good at getting back to me. I texted him last night, haven't heard from him since. So I am going to go under the assumption that he has spent the night in jail. He would have at least texted me back.
He's been either in the jail in Los Angeles or in Santa Ana, apparently, is the details on that.
So a lot of people have, I said, the Michael Avenatti haters, there's some trolls on social media. And
There's a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people on social media, a lot of people saying, hey, are you going to interview him behind bars? Here's my thoughts to you.
I told you so, Brian and JD. I told you guys.
Here are my thoughts to you idiots out there that are saying things like that. First of all, and I've said this over and over again about Michael, to this point, he has not been convicted of a crime. Okay, so you can think what you want about the guy, but he hasn't been convicted. That's number one. Number two, we have no idea why he was arrested last night. We don't know what that means when police say threat of substantial harm to the public. Based on getting to know this guy, I don't think that's the case. But we're going to need more information. We don't have that information. We don't know exactly what he did, why he was arrested yesterday. So I am not going to sit here and call Michael Avenatti a criminal unless he is actually convicted of a crime. And if he wants to come on our show again on Monday, he is more than welcome to. That is my opinion on this whole thing. If, in fact, he is convicted of something, we will talk about it, and I will be very disappointed, and we will report it. We're not going to keep it quiet. What do you guys think of this?
Let me ask a question to you, both you and JD, and to you, Brian. Why is it that we have Michael Avenatti on this show? And let me pose what I think the reasoning is. The reasoning is because he is someone who is wired in from a political standpoint. We have him on to talk about politics. We have him on because he's an interesting character, right? He's someone that is well known, and because he brings an opinion and a perspective when it comes to politics, right? We don't have Michael Avenatti on this show because we want to talk about his personal legal issues, right? That's not the reasoning behind having Michael Avenatti on this show. So I pose that to both of you guys. What is the reason?
Well, JD,
Michael Avenatti's on the show he's not on this show to come on here and destroy himself from a legal standpoint. He comes on because we like having his perspective when it comes to politics, because he's obviously someone who's very outspoken in that realm.
Yeah, we definitely give him a platform to more or less say what he wants, considering every platform that he's had has been kind of taken away from him because he's been ostracized by the media, and we give him a chance to defend himself on the different issues. Now he can't go into detail as far as his actual the details behind his legal proceedings, because that could be used against him in a court of law. But we also he is a very respected attorney. He's had over $1 billion in wins. I mean, he represented, Paris Hilton well before this. Stormy Daniels did not make this guy's career. He had a career well before this, and he definitely has very, very good modern political insight. And we have him on the show because he's topical and he's relevant, and a lot of people know who he is.
But I would push back on that, JD, first on one point you just made. We don't bring him on to defend himself. We don't bring him on and ask him about his legal situation.
No, but he's able
not
to
on to
explain
defend himself at
though.
all. We don't have him on to defend himself,
No,
right?
I don't. The reason why, listen, when we first had him on and all that Nike stuff was going on, that was relevant. We spoke about that with him, and he told us what he could.
But he's been relevant for
absolutely,
for the last year and a half, regardless of what it is. He's involved in so many different things.
Absolutely, he's involved in everything. Yeah. He's arguably the most recognizable attorney on the planet. You can make that argument right now, and that's and look, he's a great guest to have on. And look, I don't want to compare Michael Avenatti to O.J. Simpson, but the reason why I'm going to bring up O.J. Simpson is for this reason: for these idiots out there that don't understand radio. If I ran into O.J. Simpson on the side of the road, okay, and hopefully he wasn't carrying a knife on him, and if I ran into O.J. and if you did, JD, I know we both handle it the same way. We'd want to get him on the show.
Absolutely.
Do I think he's a double murderer? Absolutely. Do I think Michael Avenatti is a murderer? No. But the reason why I bring up OJ is just because we have guests on the show doesn't mean
we agree with them or that we're on board with everything they do.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean, and by the way, it also doesn't mean that we're super fans. It doesn't mean that, I'm sitting around all day saying, oh, wow, I love this guy. I love everything that he does.
Nor does it mean that they do no wrong. And I am a big fan of Michael Avenatti. He's treated me. He's treated Brian.
He's treated us very well.
Extremely well. He's been respectful. to all the callers that we've had when he comes
has.
on the show. And again, and this needs to be stressed, he has not been convicted of a crime. And until then, he is not an actual criminal.
Look, the majority of the people that are against Michael Avenatti are the idiots that are the biased Trump supporters that would never say one nice thing about
They support individual one, okay?
People that
There's a
don't
guy
have-
in the White House, it's individual one, an unindicted co-conspirator.
Let me be very
so
clear.
all you out there, you know, pot calling kettle black, hey.
Yeah, exactly. Let me be very clear on this, okay? If you have never said one negative thing about Donald Trump and you've never criticized him in one way or another, but you are obsessed with Michael Avenatti and you want to call him the worst man on the planet, you have zero credibility and you are a buffoon. And I have to deal with some of these people on social media on a daily basis. We'll take some phone calls on this, your thoughts on Michael Avenatti. Also, we have to talk a little bit about what took place last night in regards to the Democratic debate. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We have some audio to play for you there as well. And your thoughts on Michael Avenatti being arrested last night, we'll get your thoughts on that as well. 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5396. Take a break. We will be back right after this.
Your home for Sean Hannity, KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Special report, House sends impeachment articles to Senate.
I'm glad to see the impeachment moving to the Senate. The sooner this gets addressed and closed, the sooner we can get back to the business of the American people.
Republican Congressman Tom Reed on today's upcoming movement of the articles of impeachment to the Senate for a trial. More from Capitol Hill correspondent Linda Kenyon.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has announced her team of House impeachment managers, those who will serve as prosecutors in the case.
The emphasis is on litigators. The emphasis is on comfort level in the courtroom.
The managers include the chairman of the House Intelligence and Judiciary Committees, Representative Val Demings, a former police chief, Representative Jason Crow, a former Army Ranger and litigator, and Representative Zoe Lofgren, who's now taking part in her third presidential impeachment. Linda Kenyon, Capitol Hill.
Now, the articles of impeachment will be transferred this afternoon, but the debate over whether the Senate trial should include witnesses and documents is already underway. I'm Mike Moss. The U.S. and China have signed a Phase 1 trade deal, which the president heralded at the White House.
Our negotiations were tough, honest, open, and respectful, leading us to this really incredible breakthrough. Most people thought this could never happen. Should have happened 25 years ago, by the way, but that's okay.
Senator Chuck Schumer calls the agreement a mistake.
This Phase 1 deal is an extreme disappointment to me and to millions and millions of Americans who want to see us make China play fair. President Trump's Phase 1 trade deal with China is a historic blunder.
The Tennessee National Guard reports authorities are investigating reports of shots fired at Tyson McGee Air Base near Knoxville. No reports of any injuries. That base has been placed on lockdown as a precaution while a search is underway. On Wall Street, the Dow up 112. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Lowe's. A crash on the 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at I-15. This is affecting the southbound transition ramp. Also a crash, injury sustained, reported on Eastern Avenue, southbound at the 215 Southern Beltway, and an accident on Fort Apache just north of Flamingo. Injuries sustained. Watch for slowing. Emergency crews have arrived. Pros do it right by shopping at Lowe's to save on the supplies they need most from the brands they trust to get the job done. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
Las Vegas Divas Day Out is back. The largest women's expo returns January 25th at the Galleria at Sunset. Dozens of vendors with samples and sales of hundreds of all things favorite to women. Want to be a vendor? Go to divasdayout.com for more information. Vendor space is limited.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
It's a new year, time for new you. Hey, it's KDWN's John Schaefer here from my friends at Numel Medical. Well, did you make a New Year's resolution? Maybe you want to hit the gym more, drink a little less. But guys, let's be honest, we tend to bail on those resolutions after a couple of weeks. It's where my friends at Numel Medical can help. You see, low testosterone can lead to lack of energy, weight gain, even a poor performance in the bedroom. Numel Medical is the leader in men's sexual health. You'll see results on your very first visit, or that visit is free. And guys, popping a little blue pill is just a temporary fix. Numel Medical is going to create a long-term, custom-tailored solution specific to you. They'll have you feeling better and performing better. Just ask the tens of thousands of men in the Las Vegas area alone who have the courage to give them a call. Numel.com. That's Numale.com. 702-505-4414. That's the number. Better health is always a great resolution. Don't see a cheap imitation? Go to the originators. Numel.com. 702-505-4414.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. I'm going to call this day Testy Wednesdays. Everybody yelling at each other today. I don't know. I think everybody's just upset that Gerard Gallant got fired, and everybody's just so emotional today. And then Michael Avenatti gets arrested last night, and all hell breaks loose. Anyway,
I'm not going to lie to you guys. There's a lot of people on edge here in the studio. I'll tell you what it is.
I'll tell you what it is.
It's weird.
We're all under the weather. We're all on numerous.
JD is in the worst mood ever.
We're on numerous meds.
I'm
on meds for the first time in like 4 years. I'm on antibiotics. And I just feel terrible about it because I don't believe
I
in
will
them.
say this. I was sick yesterday. I took a sick day, and Chris, you did a great job filling in for me.
I was still kind of on the back end of being sick yesterday.
Appreciate
me and JD here in the studio.
You did a great job filling in.
The question is, did Chris Wynn get us sick?
You did a great job filling in for me, Chris. I appreciate that. I was a little under the weather. JD's under the weather. And I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true or not, allegedly, but I heard a rumor that our producer, Jason Stein, has an STD. I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh, no.
So anyway, we'll
get to the clinic, Jay Stein. Get there.
That's just a rumor, allegedly. I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, we're taking your phone calls.
I didn't know that they traveled through osmosis.
We're taking your phone calls at 702-257-5396.
Anxiety.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Talking about Michael Avenatti, I gave you my opinions on it. And unless he's convicted of a crime, I'm not going to convict him outside the courtroom. And listen, there's probably going to be a lot of people that are Donald Trump supporters that are against Michael Avenatti, and we'll take your phone calls. I will gladly have a conversation with you about that. And then we have to get into the Democratic debate. 702-257-5396. Let's start off with Thomas. Thomas, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, Brian? How are you?
Who cares how I am? We're talking about Michael Avenatti. Get to your point.
What's up, Thomas?
So here's the thing: is I'm a Trump supporter, but I am critical of Trump on a lot of issues, especially the way he acts and the way he carries himself as the president of the United States. I think it's laughable. But the other thing is you can't argue with results. You can't argue with the record unemployment, the record stock market. I don't like Avenatti because I think he's a sleaze. But you know what? Trump is also a sleaze as well.
Okay, so first of all, we weren't talking about Donald Trump, so I'm not really sure why you brought that up.
But you keep saying that you can't be a Trump supporter and be critical of Avenatti because you're never critical of Trump. That is.
Okay, so you're saying fine. So you're saying you're critical of both. Let me tell you the distinction, though.
I think he's calling you a hypocrite.
No, I'm not a hypocrite at all.
Absolutely, I'm calling him a hypocrite.
Okay, well, guess what? There's somebody called the President of the United States, and I think the President of the United States you should put to a little bit of a higher standard than an attorney. Does that not make any sense to you at all? Because any logical person with an IQ of over 20 would understand where I'm coming from. The President should be held to a higher standard than somebody who is an attorney. Do you not understand that?
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, so what are we talking about then? Why did you bring up Donald Trump and make an analogy?
Getting very red.
Because you
very red.
That just because you're a Trump supporter and not critical of.
Yes,
of
I think
Trump.
it's hypocritical.
You can't be
Yes.
critical of Avenatti.
Yes, I think it's hypocritical. And there are many people out there, unlike you, there are many people out there who have never said one negative thing about Donald Trump
There
and
are.
called him out.
Thomas, there are a ton of them that don't say anything bad.
So perhaps I'm not referencing you specifically,
No.
Thomas, but there are plenty of conversations I've had in the last 24 hours of people that wear the Donald Trump knee pads, but all of a sudden they want to go after Michael Avenatti, and that is wrong, and you are a hypocrite.
Where do you buy those knee pads anyways? Amazon?
I think you buy them from Thomas's house. That's where I think you buy them. Go ahead, Thomas.
You are making an asinine blanket statement about every Trump supporter.
So let me just get this right. If you are a Trump supporter and in 2.5 years you have never called him out for going after a POW, you've never called him out for the video of grab them by the P word, you've never called him out for going after a female's looks, never said one negative thing about the guy, but for the last 24 hours you've been blasting Michael Avenatti, you think that's hypocritical?
Yes.
Okay, well then you're a moron, Thomas. Get off the show.
And Thomas, we're not saying that about every
he's a moron.
Trump supporter, and we're not saying that about you.
Hey, Thomas.
You just pointed out that you're not one of those people. So we're not talking about you. We're talking about the Trump supporters that are always on Donald Trump's side no matter what.
Let's take some more
as
phone
opposed
calls.
to, you know,
Thomas, great call. I'm glad you
Right.
actually called in as Thomas and not Stephen this
well,
time.
nobody
Power
knows.
to you there.
Nobody knows what you mean by that. But what we do know is that I just nailed him, and he wasn't able to be intellectually honest. Sounds like a millennial, not a shocker. 702-257-5396. Dale, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hello, Dale. This is Boomhauer.
I look at it, Avenatti as kind of an enigma. When I listen to him on your radio show, he sounds pretty every day. I mean, he sounds logical. And he sounds very believable. Some of his television appearances, on the other hand, I wonder who this guy is. So I have to conclude he's kind of a showman in a way, which that applies to a lot of lawyers.
Yeah, which can't be a surprise.
I think a lot of folks are after him. Some of the comments some of his clients have made are not very flattering.
Well, and I think part of it is that he's about to take down Nike, and the timing is definitely coincidental with the fact that it looks like the evidence that Michael Avenatti has against Nike is pretty damning.
Well, on that one, I actually agree with all you guys because I despise Nike. I just But anyway,
but Dale, Dale, as a listener, Dale, and we appreciate you. Do you understand why we have Michael Avenatti on the show? Correct?
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
If nothing else, he is entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dale, there you go.
I would give him that one first.
Dale, there you go.
The nail on the head, right,
Yeah.
Brian and JD?
Great answer,
Dale,
Dale.
Dale, I appreciate that answer, and that's the right one. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 702-257-5396. Following the news that Michael Avenatti was arrested last night, and now we are learning, our producer tells us that the LA Times is reporting that money laundering is why he was arrested. If he is convicted of that, then obviously I would not support that. But again, we don't know. That's going to be tried in a court of law.
It looks like he was hiding money, or he is accused of hiding money from one of his ex-wives and other creditors that he has.
Okay. And again, we don't know if that is true or not.
No, we have no idea if
What we
that's
do
true.
know is that he was arrested last night, and I'm sure, hopefully, we will hear from him.
And Avenatti, he's come on our show, I think, 50 or 60 times. And one thing I don't agree with him on is he is never really willing to give Donald Trump credit. Neither are you, Brian. And that's one thing that I'm a big fan of Michael Avenatti, but I wish he gave, at least in our conversations that we have, I wish he gave Donald Trump a little more credit than he does, because Donald Trump does do a lot of good things.
Okay, but that's a different conversation. You're talking about political beliefs. We're talking about him getting arrested.
I'm saying from my perspective, as far as not agreeing with Michael Avenatti about 100% everything, there are things that I don't agree with him about.
Okay, well, that's good. I would rather you disagree with him on some things than somebody calling to the show and we agree with somebody on everything. That wouldn't be a fun interview. And that last caller said it right. He's entertaining. That's why we have him on the show.
Is.
That's okay.
And he's smart and he's polished.
702-257-5396. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Ron?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
JD, how are you guys?
Doing good.
Hey, let me tell you something, JD. This is why I love Brian. Even though he's my opposite, he never learns his lesson.
What do you mean, learn my lesson?
Well, you know what? I respect Avenatti because he's got knowledge. He knows what he's doing. Do I like him? No, absolutely not.
Okay.
And another thing, Brian, what I like about you is you're cool. You were talking about rumors this morning. Then he goes and he says the guy's name over the radio, and I'm like laughing my head off, you know. And
Rumors about what?
That's what I like about Brian.
Rumors.
And Brian's got character. I like him. And
Okay,
that's
Ron,
why
Ron, I appreciate that, Pat, but when we're talking about specifically Michael Avenatti, what lesson have I learned? Because did you not hear what I just said about O.J. Simpson? If I ran into O.J. on the street, I would invite him on the show. If I had a chance to interview Jerry Sandusky behind bars, I would interview him. I mean, I don't understand, what lesson have I not learned?
That's a fair statement. But when you first had him on the show, Brian, you kind of defended him. And which was fair, too, because we didn't know the judgment at the time he got.
That's not true.
We still don't know. At this point, right now, today, at this hour, we still do not have all. See, this is what happens on social media here in the last 24 to 48 hours. Everybody has pontificated about what they think he's going to be convicted of.
Ron,
They've already convicted him. There's people out there that have already decided Michael Avenatti is guilty.
Ron, let me be very clear.
Case.
Ron, let me be very clear. Here's what I defend. I defend innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
What part of that do you not understand?
No, I understand it. I'm the same way, Brian.
So
I'm
what are
just
we
saying
arguing
the
about
guy-
then? What lesson have I not learned?
Well, you're a good guy. I think you're too quick. To
What
defend
lesson
the
have
person
I not
when you
learned?
Don't know yet.
What
When
lesson?
You don't know yet.
I'm asking you again because one of the first things you said, I appreciate the nice things you said, Ron. But one of the first things you said, I appreciate that. But one of the first things you said was Brian hasn't learned his lesson. I've asked you now.
I think one of the lessons is the fact that you don't know how to color coordinate. You've got red with the black
I
Versace
appreciate
hat
that.
right
All
now.
right.
You need to work on
And
that.
burnt orange too, right, JD?
Yeah, that just
Ron,
doesn't, it just doesn't work.
Lettering.
Ron,
It's just not working.
Ron, what lesson have I not learned? I have to ask you one more time. Please tell me.
Well, I'll say it again. At first, you kind of defended him.
I did
and
not. That's
okay,
not
too.
true. But
That's
Ron,
okay, too,
that's
but
not factually accurate. I defend innocent until proven guilty. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll even.
All right, you have a point.
And
No.
I'll even court. And Ron, I appreciate your kind words. Thank you for calling.
No, you have a point.
Thank you.
Totally have a point.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. Listen,
good call,
listen.
Ron.
Even when it comes to Donald Trump, when Mueller was investigating him, yeah, we can speculate. But I said over and over again, let's wait until the report comes out. Let's see what happens. In regards to this issue with the Soleimani, the killing of Soleimani, I've said over and over again, I hope the president made the right decision, but I'm skeptical based on faulty intelligence in the past. And with Michael Avenatti, the same thing applies. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here. And if, in fact, he's convicted of a crime, then we will absolutely cover it. We will absolutely talk about it. What occurred last night with him being arrested will not change the fact that we plan on having him on the show Monday. And I bet you he will come on our show Monday. Now, what will he be able to talk about? I don't know. 257-5396. Let's go to Jake. Jake, you're next up on the Vegas Take. Thanks for calling in. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Could you kind of go over what is it that Avenatti has to do with Nike? Does that have anything to do with the child labor?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with college basketball.
And it's about a 30-minute segment.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We're not going to get into the whole details.
We'll put it this way. Nike has been paying players for about, we'll call it 20 or 30 years.
That I know.
Avenatti has text messages, and he has hard evidence that this is that what they've been accused of is actually true.
Yeah, what I was hoping his thing was the labor they were paying those third world children to make their shoes while they're paying hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, Jake, that's a good point.
Millionaires.
Jake, I don't feel bad for Nike. Yeah, that's a good point.
No, I can't stand Nike. I won't buy Nike for that reason.
Yeah. Well, listen.
But what I was going to say is, I'm not a Trump enthusiast. I support the president, whoever he is. The only thing I didn't like about Avenatti is that why is our country taking the side of basically a prostitute who does her business on film over the leader of our country, like him or not? How does pornography rank above the presidency?
Well, here's my, and I appreciate that question, Jake, and I'll try to give you the best answer I can. Okay. Donald Trump paid $120,000 of hush money to Stormy Daniels. Okay. This was a week before the elections. Okay. People who are voting deserve to know that kind of information. They kept it under the rug. I think it's also important to learn about one's character before the elections. What would you say about a man that has unprotected sex with a porn star few months after his wife has a child? I wouldn't say very many nice things about that person. We're talking about breaking campaign finance violations, and that is one of the reasons why Michael Cohen is behind bars right now. And remember, that was Donald Trump's personal attorney, and now he's chosen Rudy Giuliani. He really chooses the best, doesn't he? 702-257 5396. Of course, following the news of Michael Avenatti being arrested last night and taking your phone calls. Let's go to Brady. Brady, you're next up on the Vegas Take. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Brady?
Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, last week Trump took out Soleimani. No, this week he took out Avenatti, who was once referred to by Ann Navarro as the Holy Spirit of the left. I kind of find it funny, and it wasn't Nike that got.
Okay,
Avenatti
let me stop you right there. You are comparing a terrorist that has killed hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans to an attorney that has never been convicted of a crime. Do you realize how stupid you sound right now?
Soleimani died. Avenatti's very much alive.
Do you realize how dumb you sound, Brady, comparing an attorney to a terrorist?
You've made better analogies before.
What's happening, though, is what happened is it wasn't Nike that took Avenatti down. It's when he kept the hooker's cash and deposited into his.
So you have all the evidence?
It hasn't been taken down yet, Brady.
What are you talking about?
He's not been taken down yet. It hasn't happened yet.
Can you at least
want it to happen, but it hasn't.
Can you at least admit one asinine thing? The fact that you are comparing a terrorist to Michael Avenatti. Do you realize how ignorant you sound? Can you retract that? Can you admit that you said something dumb? Can you do that once in your life?
Terrorists and lawyers like Avenatti are my number one hit list.
And you are probably the dumbest person that I've ever talked to on the planet, Brady. Thank you so much for another ignorant phone call. All right, we're going to
really good call.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Democratic debate last night. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren got into the ring. We'll explain what that means coming up next. By the way, why was Jerry Yang and Patrick not on the stage? We'll get to
Andrew
that. What did I say? Jerry Yang? I said Jerry Yang, former WSOP world champion.
That's right.
You said Jerry Lee Yang.
Is that what I said? Okay. Well, my mistake. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Here is some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's the affordable alternative to health insurance. And it's worked beautifully for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. And over the years, members have shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills. So they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is about $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. You're not stuck with a high-cost health plan. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. Here's the number to find out more, and there's no pressure. They are super easy to talk to. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
I'm Ben Utek. I played high school, college, and pro football, helping my team win the 2006 championship. It was an amazing day, but it can't compare to the joy I feel every day with my loving wife and 3 beautiful daughters. My football career ended after I suffered my 5th concussion. Did you know that over 1 million athletes suffer a concussion each year? That includes boys and girls, every age, every type and level of sport. It isn't always clear that a player has had a concussion, so parents, athletes, and coaches need to learn about concussion signs and symptoms. The American Academy of Neurology recommends athletes thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play and not returned until assessed by a healthcare professional trained in concussion. This isn't just about sports. It's about your brain. When in doubt, sit it out. Learn more at aan.com/concussion. That's aan.com/concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Wednesday. A lot more to get to. As I mentioned, the WNBA with a new CBA agreement, which I think is laughable. But, hey, we're going to hear the side of Ariel Chambers. She's from the Bleacher Report. She obviously agrees with it. I don't. I'll explain why coming up in hour number 3. But there was a Democratic presidential debate last night. And Bernie Sanders kind of got into it with Elizabeth Warren a little bit. Elizabeth Warren is claiming that Bernie Sanders told her in a private conversation that a woman could never be president. Bernie Sanders disagrees with that. I want you to hear this little exchange. Bernie asked why he allegedly told Warren a woman could not be president, and here is his response.
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't say it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on this because this is what Donald Trump and maybe some of the media want. Anybody knows me, knows that it's incomprehensible that I would think that a woman could not be president of the United States. Go to YouTube today. There's some video of me 30 years ago talking about how a woman could become president of the United States.
And by the way, there was a testy exchange there after the debate where you see Warren and Sanders talking to each other. They didn't shake each other's hand, and it had to be about this issue. But here's Elizabeth Warren's response to this. Here's what she had to say.
So, can a woman beat Donald Trump? Look at the men on this stage. Collectively, they have lost 10 elections. The only people on this stage who have won every single election that they've been in are the women, Amy and me.
So,
girl power.
Here's my thoughts on this. First of all, Elizabeth Warren, this is why I would never support her as president. I think she's a phony. I remember she went after Pete Buttigieg for raising money to be on that stage when she did the exact same thing. She is an absolute hypocrite. She has very similar qualities to why I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I think they're robotic and I think they're phony. I am not an Elizabeth Warren fan. You can say a lot about Bernie Sanders. You can disagree with his politics. One thing you can't say is this is not a decent human being. Bernie Sanders has been a civil rights activist his whole life. He has been pro-woman his whole life. In fact, he said on the campaign trail, he even made remarks about Hillary, and he did support her. So to say that Bernie Sanders doesn't think a woman could be president, I'm sorry, but I think Elizabeth Warren is a liar. She lied about her heritage, and she's lying again. I think she's phony. What do you guys make of this?
I think there's a lot of things about debates like this that are way more important that need to be discussed when it comes to domestic policies, when it comes to kitchen table issues, when it comes to foreign policy, when it comes to the economy. There's so many other things, and the fact that this has become some type of major issue that has been discussed, I think has been ridiculous. That being said, I would agree with you, Brian, on this point. I think that Elizabeth Warren might have misconstrued a conversation that she might have had back in 2018 with Bernie Sanders, but I don't think in any way, shape, or form Bernie Sanders doesn't believe a woman can be elected president of the United States. And I think that was evident in what he said. Look, he didn't exactly say that in 1988, but he basically insinuated that, and he basically talked about how that he believes a woman can be president. So,
what's your thought?
Long story
JD?
short,
I
don't think he made that statement.
It's just more desperation. Just like Elizabeth Warren went at apparently Trump had a conversation with some people at Mar-a-Lago that something big was coming before Soleimani was murdered, and Elizabeth Warren actually whistle blew the SEC about possible insider trading on behalf of Donald Trump. So I just think it's more desperation moves by Elizabeth Warren. Interesting that she is turning on her fellow Democratic Party candidates and making it women against men. She's just all about herself. She's not about the country. I think she's an absolute joke, and I believe that she is probably going to end up third or fourth in this race.
To me, and by the way, I agree with you. To me, it is why Tulsi Gabbard is not on that stage, because remember when she went at Democrats, she went after Kamala Harris, she went after Democrats that were on the stage. Boy, she didn't do very well. I agree with you. I think it is desperation. Remember the last debate when
100%.
When we covered it, and she went after Pete Buttigieg, and by the way, who's doing pretty well in the polls, better than people expected, and he had that. I guess he had that wine, that crystal wine cave. Whatever you like.
He had a high rent fundraiser, right?
He hobnobbed with some billionaires. The guy's from South Bend, Indiana.
And he still has student loan debt, by the way.
I mean, the guy's he's probably worth maybe $400,000.
No, I don't even think he's worth that much. He still has student loan debt.
I'm guessing he lives in maybe a $250,000 house.
I don't think he has that. No,
he's not worth 7 figures. Let's put it that way. Nowhere near.
Nothing even close to what Elizabeth Warren is worth.
No, not even remotely
And I have
close.
a serious problem with her. First of all, going after Buttigieg, now going after Bernie Sanders. I mean, the focus for Democrats should be Donald Trump. And I got to tell you, I was really disappointed.
It will be, though, Brian. It will be.
Well, I was okay. Listen, we got to take a break
Chris,
here.
I think it's going to be too late though by the time that
Too
it is.
late.
'Cause
There's going to be one candidate, guys.
All Trump has to do is pivot and stop going on social media and being a moron,
But
and everything will be fine.
But JD,
that's all he has to do.
I do agree with you.
The economy is great. Unemployment is low. He's doing what he said he was going to do. All he has to do is just stop being a literal clown on social media, and he will pick up 10%, in my personal opinion.
Well, listen, I kind of agree with both of you, but my point on last night, and then we got to take a break here, is that Donald Trump should have been spoken about more.
Yes,
and I think
I agree with that. Yes.
And you know, as far as this attack on Soleimani and as far as the impeachment and everything else, I thought that should have been focused on more by the Democrats, and it wasn't hammered enough. I think at times Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders were bickering too much with one another. I actually think the big winner in this one is Joe Biden, because I don't think he
100%.
lost it. He didn't lose any points, and
Right.
I think Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders may have lost some traction. But that's just my personal opinion. We got to take a break. When we come back, this is going to be a lot of fun. Steve Sanson and Robert Madoff, they're from Talking Veterans in Politics, and they have a huge event raising money for our veterans. We'll talk to them coming up next. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
Special report: House sends impeachment articles to Senate. President Trump has been fast to respond to word the House today will send the articles of impeachment to the Senate for an impeachment trial. Here's White House correspondent Jeremy Diamond.
The president taking to Twitter to say, "Here we go again. Another con job by the do-nothing Democrats. All of this work was supposed to be done by the House, not the Senate." And that appears to be particularly a reference to this call by the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, and the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, for there to be witnesses.
The lead House manager to present the case in the Senate is Adam Schiff.
This time has given us the ability to show the American people the necessity of a fair trial, to expose the degree to which McConnell is working hand in hand with the subject of the impeachment, the president, to essentially turn what should be a trial into a sham.
Senate Leader McConnell says he opposes calling witnesses. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Lowe's. A crash on the 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at I-15. This is affecting the southbound transition ramp. Also a crash, injury sustained, reported on Eastern Avenue southbound at the 215 Southern Beltway, and an accident on Fort Apache just north of Flamingo. Injuries sustained. Watch for slowing. Emergency crews have arrived. Pros do it right by shopping at Lowe's to save on the supplies they need most from the brands they trust to get the job done. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's your friend Sean Hannity, and with the election on the horizon, well, you've got a lot of important choices ahead of you. But let's not talk politics for just a second and focus on your home. If you're about to sell your home, before you throw your money away, listen very carefully. Contact the agent I personally trust, Rick and Terry Brinkus of Keller Williams Realty, the marketplace. And Rick and Terry have averaged over 250 sales per year. Now get this, for 25 straight years. Now they understand the headache and the stress that comes with selling a home, and they know how to eliminate the drama. In fact, they can help set a price and a deadline you agree to. Now, if that deadline passes, they will buy your home. Real estate mogul and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran only recommends Rick and Terry Brinkus in Las Vegas. And if I needed to sell a home in Southern Nevada, well, no question, I'd call the Brinkus team. Call the Brinkus team today at 702-456-5959, online at thebrinkusteam.com.
License number BS 16186.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, a lot of questions run through your mind. What am I going to do? What are my options? What did I do wrong? We've had those thoughts too. But some questions can help you move forward.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com for an interactive guide to help you learn the next steps to take after an MBC diagnosis.
And how to ask the questions that lead to an open and informed conversation with your doctor.
Start finding your voice today at findyourmbcvoice.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. We got Chris Wheat in studio as well on a Wednesday. A reminder, coming up in hour number 3, the WNBA has a new CBA, which I do not agree with at all. But Ariel Chambers from the Bleacher Report will be joining us and stating the case why, obviously, it's a good thing for WNBA players, but I just don't agree with it. So we'll talk about that coming up in hour number 3. Also, the Red Sox firing their coach, Alex Cora. Wow, what a big cheating scandal in Major League Baseball. We will get to that. My favorite guy, Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm, went nuts on some autograph seekers last night, and we have the audio to prove that. It's really funny. So a lot more stuff to get to in this show. But, I got a phone call from one of these gentlemen that are in studio right now, and I got an email, and it was in regards to an event, Veterans in Politics event, which is going to be taking place. And by the way, this is the 5th event that they've done, and it's going to be taking place in February, I believe Saturday, February 8th. And what this is, it's an event to help raise money for charity and help our veterans. And anytime I hear anything, and I mean anything, that involves our veterans in helping veterans, the men and women in uniform, the heroes who risk their lives for this country, I want to be a part of that. And I was asked to MC it, and I'm honored to be able to do that. Truly honored to be able to do that. Sheriff Bill Young is also going to be a speaker there. I know Andre Agassi is a part of this as well. He's bought a table at this event. So the gentlemen we have in studio right now, Steve Sanson and Robert Madoff, the two guys who put this whole event together, joining us in studio. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for asking me to MC this event, because it's truly an honor and a privilege to be around so many men and women. And I think the one thing that I really want to convey is, I get to wake up in the morning and do what I love to do for a living every day, and have the freedom to be able to call people morons and idiots on the air. JD and Chris can attest to that.
It's very, very special, and he's extremely proud of that.
Yes, but the only reason why I'm able to do that is because of those brave men and women who risk their lives so that I can have the freedom to do that. I will never forget that. And we have a lot of veterans actually that call into this show. I mean, every day, guys, right? We have people that say, I served here and there, and I don't care what their political beliefs are. I always thank them for their service, and quite frankly, they're all heroes. So tell me a little bit about your organization, and tell me a little bit about this event and how this all came together, because this is the 5th year, right?
Right. Veterans in Politics is a nonprofit. And what we do, there's a lot of veterans group out there that sends care packages to veterans that do their disability claims. We wanted to do something different. So what we do is we champion legislations for veterans' rights, such as the Veterans Court, which is one of ours, Protecting Service-Connected Disability Benefits, which is another one of ours as well. We also expose public corruption, which there's
plenty of that going around, isn't there? Don't even get me started there.
That keeps us busy to no end. You wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And we also endorse candidates for elected seats. We put them out there. We videotape them. We have a panel that asks a series of questions, and we really get the public involved in the going to the polls, which is another thing they could do. If they can't wear the uniform and serve, they could go to the voting booth and vote for good candidates that's going to represent the people.
I think that's awesome. How much money have you been able to raise throughout your organization? Can you share that with us? How much have you been able to raise to help these veterans?
Well, I got to be honest with you, Brian. The only fundraiser we have is this Valentine's Day ball, and we do it every other year. And the reason why we do it every other year is to get candidates involved and to get candidates to come down.
I see. Yep.
And so the veterans could see the candidates and be able to make an excellent decision when they go to the voting booth. But throughout the year, it's just, it's individuals here and there that help put monies in.
And my understanding is Andre Agassi has made a large donation to this, and he's a part of it as well. He bought a table to this event, which is going to be taking place again Saturday, February 8th, 5 to 6 p.m. And this is, by the way, the Railhead. I've seen some great concerts, by the way, at that venue. That's at Boulder Station. Fun casino. I've been there many a times. So 5 to 6 p.m., you'll have a cocktail hour, and then dinner is served at 6 p.m. It's $125 per person. If you'd like a table, Andre Agassi has bought one of those tables. It's $1,000, seats 8 people. And Sheriff Bill Young, who eventually we'll have on the show before this event, is going to be there, one of the guest speakers. Boy, I would have a lot of questions to ask him. I thought he was a great sheriff, by the way. I really do.
He was a great sheriff.
Nothing against Lombardo, but I thought Sheriff
Young, Gillespie came before Lombardo.
Yes. Yes, I do. But I think Young did a fantastic job.
did.
I
He
really
did.
did. I thought he was one of my favorite sheriffs since I've been in Las Vegas. So this is a pretty cool event, and you're going to have some guest speakers. And like I said, I'm honored to be the MC to this event to help veterans. How many veterans do you think are going to be at this thing?
Well, normally we get about somewhere around 50.
Oh, that's good. That's a good turnout. Yeah,
somewhere
that's
around
good.
50.
So when you see some of the issues that face veterans, when you see some of the issues, not getting proper health care, struggling back into the workforce, PTSD, it's horrible, right? These are the people that we need to take care of. So can you talk to me a little bit about that and how your organization helps some of these veterans in these types of situations?
Well, the PTSD comes in all forms, Brian. And when a veteran goes to combat or goes overseas and wears the uniform and comes back to the United States, they want some type of a level of care. And that's one of the reasons why we did the Veterans Court, to treat veterans for PTSD instead of incarcerate them, instead of locking them up. I could remember years ago when the Pence and Trump was running for the presidency, I asked Mike Pence, what is a Trump-Pence administration going to do?
You met Pence?
I have, yes.
You had a conversation with him?
I had a conversation.
Was this in Las Vegas?
It was. It was in Henderson, actually.
So you were able to speak with him?
I was. It's on video. It's on YouTube, by the way.
Wow.
And I asked him. I said, what is a Trump-Pence administration going to do to help treat veterans instead of incarcerating them? Because as of right now, as of that time,
that's a good question.
As of that time, the survey was there was about 175,000 veterans that were in state and federal prisons, and a lot of it has contributed from when they were in combat, from when they served.
Of course.
But in the same token, I really didn't get a clear answer what they were going to do. I really didn't, but I know that they've been helping veterans all through the administration now. But coming back, fast forward, when a veteran goes to family court, they're not the same when they left.
Right.
And when they go to family court, that the wife can't handle them, or vice versa, the husband can't handle them if it was a female veteran, and they bank accounts get cleared out. And children get misplaced, and the apartments and house get emptied. And what veterans politics is trying to do is trying to help those veterans as well to go through the family court system, because a lot of them can't afford it. And veterans it just amazes me the kind of trauma that happens.
I can't even imagine some of the stuff.
And then they lose their families as well.
Horrible. It's horrible.
And then you have judges that don't.
If there's any
don't
judge
move them along.
that should take the side of anybody in society, I don't care what the color of your skin is, I don't care how much money you have, it should be our veterans, the men and women that risk their lives for this country. If you're just joining us, Steve Sanson and Robert Madoff are Veterans in Politics event. They run their Veterans in Politics Foundation. This event, $125 per person, or you can buy a table for $1,000. It's going to be February 8th, Saturday. Honored to be the MC for this event. Sheriff Bill Young will be one of the guest speakers, and I would imagine there'll be more speakers as well.
And so is this $125 for veterans as well as the public, or what's the price for veterans that want to attend this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. First of all, when Veterans in Politics asked me to be the chairperson, I was honored, just as you, Brian. I have a lot of respect for the military. What we're trying to do, we're trying to get as many sponsorships and donations from people like Andre Agassi, Michael Gahn, from the South Point.
South Point owner, yeah. He does a lot of great things for charity in this town, by the way. And actually, he helped my friend get a job recently, by the way. Oh, really? Yeah, he's a really good dude.
And he does good business in general.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Actually is. I've known him for about 25 years.
And by the way, there are some, not to get into this, but there are some casino owners in town that do not treat people the same. And I'll even go further without mentioning any names. There are some sports organizations in this town that are not exactly charitable. Let's just put it that way. I won't go further than that. By the way, I'm not talking about UNLV. I'm talking about professional franchises. You can say who I'm talking. You can think who I'm talking about. Go ahead.
And just to add to that, I started the ice hockey program here 29 years ago as a volunteer, and I was instrumental in numerous events, high-profile hockey events. And we did approach the professional hockey team here, and they gave us a stick. which it was, you know.
All right. Well, you brought that up. I mean, since you bring that up,
Yes, I am going to bring it up.
Was it autographed at least?
It was autographed,
Okay.
but here's the kicker with the new now Las Vegas Raiders. You know, the thing is that we heard that they were great charitable and everything, and correct me if I'm wrong. Did they not get $775 million free to have that stadium
I believe
built?
they did. Yes.
Yeah, they
So
did.
they should actually be putting something back into the community.
Yeah.
And we were expecting like a donation for a table, as Mr. Agassi and Mr. Gahn did, and a number of other
Two
people.
great guys. Again, I can't emphasize
Yes.
that enough. Agassi's done so many great things for this town. So hold on, let's rewind here for a second. This is unbelievable. So you're telling me this is this is 100% for the veterans, and you reach out to the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yes.
And you're telling me the only thing they send back to you is a hockey stick?
Yes.
And this can get sticky, guys, because
Well,
Bill Foley, by the
no
way, is
pun
a West
intended.
Point guy, right?
Yes, he is.
So you would think that that organization would be very partial.
That's actually very
to
surprising.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a West
Did you
Point
guys
guy.
reach out to UNLV? Did they give you more? Or did they do?
No, we did not reach out
Okay.
to UNLV. But in terms of the Raiders, and I'll make this quick, basically what we asked for them was a table or a signed jersey, a signed helmet.
Something you can make money and
Yeah,
and for-
value.
Right.
They gave us a $29.95 bobblehead. This is it's in the mail right now. I think it costs more to mail than it does that we're going to get it auctioned off.
I mean, I'm laughing, guys. I'm laughing
It's
because
sad.
this is
That is-
ridiculous.
instead, you would
okay?
cry.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna listen.
Now,
After
who did you have the conversation with?
I forgot. I've got the gentleman's name on my phone. I can.
well, listen.
Because I doubt it was Mark Davis.
we don't have
No,
to.
it wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't-
absolutely.
we don't have to
I
say-
feel like Mark Davis may not even understand what this is.
We don't have to say the name, but let me just leave it at this. October 1, yes, we came together. I like the way the Vegas Golden Knights worked with the community, but you need to continue to do that, okay? This isn't, okay, we had a horrible tragedy where 58 people lost their lives.
Right.
You need to continue to work with the community. Explain to me why a guy like, and maybe Foley doesn't know about this. We don't know. But if somebody came to Bill Foley and said, hey, can you give us $1,000 for this event? And you talked about this event. I can't imagine Foley wouldn't do it. There's somebody within the Knights organization that you spoke to that did not do their job. This should have gone up to the top. This is a great event. Veterans are a huge part of not only our community, but our country and why it is the way it is. And I'm really saddened to hear that. So you're saying the Raiders didn't exactly respond the way you would have liked either?
Absolutely not. And I know that we're a limited time here, but those out there listening here, on Mr. Shapiro's show.
Well, it's not just my show.
Not
JD's
your
show.
I'm sorry.
Sharp and Shapiro. That's okay.
Sharp and Shapiro.
Yeah,
I
that's all
used to listen to you guys when you guys used to do the sports show as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But seriously, if for the vets, we need sponsorship. We need donations so we can get as many military veterans to come to this ball as we can. We want to
Give out the information. How do people contact you guys?
You can contact Mr. Steve Sanson. He's the president of Veterans in Politics at 702-283-8088. And myself, Robert Medoff, at 702-449-1554.
Now, does the organization lean any particular direction politically, or is it kind of right in the middle, unbiased? There is no Republican or Democrat.
We're nonpartisan.
Okay,
we're nonpartisan. But a
That's
lot
a
of
breath
veterans,
of fresh air.
But a lot of veterans is registered
Sure.
different parties
Right.
as we go along. But I also would like to say that we not only veterans we help civilians that are loving veterans, civilians that probably had a brother that served or a mother that's in, or civilians that probably had some type of ailment that didn't allow them to join the military, but they carry the veterans in their heart. So we help those people
and
as
you're
well.
you're sitting next to someone that served as well. Chris Wynn served as well. And
what
this,
branch?
This
Army.
Is,
Thank you for
Army, yes.
thank you for your
Yes, sir.
service.
yeah. So is there? So by the way, all of the information on this event is on our Twitter page at the Vegas Take. If you want a little bit more information, and is there anything before we break? Is there anything that we have not covered that you think is important that you want to get out to the listeners?
Well, if they want to go to veteransinpolitics.org, they could go ahead and click on the donation button, and they could go ahead and order the tickets from there, or they could go to Eventbrite as well. But one thing I also would like to say to everybody that's listening, that this is a very important election out there, and judicial candidates are extremely important. Judicial candidates affect your life immediately. I need people to pay attention, judicial candidates. I need attorneys out there that have 10 years practicing law to go and file for judge, and don't let a lot of these bad judges run unopposed.
Right. No, I think you're right. I think you're right. And by the way, all these veterans, they fought for our freedom to be able to make those kind of decisions and vote. I think that's very, very important. Okay, here's the most important question. So you gave me this Veterans in Politics Foundation shirt, which I will wear proudly. Is this a tuxedo event? As an MC, should I wear a tuxedo? Or do I wear this shirt? It is your choice.
It's a tuxedo event.
Okay, so I'm going to rent a tuxedo.
Or a suit and tie.
I'm going to rent a tuxedo. I think the last time I wore a tuxedo was my high school senior prom. Yeah, it's been a while.
Can he wear that beanie?
No, I will not be wearing a beanie.
No beanies?
I will shave my head and I will be clean cut. No, but in all seriousness, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to MC this thing.
We appreciate you doing this for us, Brian. And I also like to add, we're going to have Kevin Wall that's going to be a presenter.
Okay, cool. I know
well.
Kevin. Yep, I used to work with Kevin.
And then we're going to have an individual by the name of Jesse Law is going to do the national anthem.
Cool.
And then we should have some ROTC folks that are going to be doing the colors.
Good, and the former sheriff will be there as well, which is great. And I think you mentioned a couple of the names of people that have already bought tables. I think if you're a Sheldon Adelson, I don't care who you are, if you have a lot of money in this town, do us all a favor.
You know, I would actually talk to Derek Stevens.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I would have that
there's
conversation.
there's a lot of people you could reach out to. That's the point I'm trying to make,
Right.
and hopefully, I would hope the Vegas Golden Knights would get a little bit more involved than sending you a hockey stick. Maybe they could send you a new hockey coach. I'm sorry, that was a horrible joke. But anyway, gentlemen, Steve, Robert, thank you so much for joining us in studio. Really appreciate it.
I like to say again, thank you guys for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we do thank you very much from the bottom of our heart.
No reason to thank me. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to be there and MC this event. I can't wait. I look forward to it. And I can't wait to meet all these men and women, all these heroes.
And one more thing I would like to say, Brian. Semper Fi to all the Marines out there. Hoorah, Devil Dogs!
I like that. I like that. All right, gentlemen, I can't wait to see you February 8th, and we'll talk more about this before the event starts.
Thank you so
much. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have some breaking news, and it has to do with articles of impeachment. We will talk about that coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-860-6565. That's 800-860-6565. 800-860-6565. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
For Marie, taking care of her siblings isn't just a choice. It's her responsibility. Every day, Leah and Johnny rely on Marie's help just to survive. Marie's greatest fear is what would happen to them if something happened to her. Like Leah and Johnny, most adults with intellectual disabilities need unique care. Nearly 424,000 of them are still waiting. Help more families like Marie's. Give the gift of opportunity. Please give to Opportunity Village at ovgift.org.
Family Promise of Las Vegas, please leave a message.
I've been laid off my job, so we're facing eviction. I have 2 daughters.
I'm calling for emergency shelter for me and my 2.5-year-old son.
I'm a single father with a 14-year-old daughter looking for emergency shelter.
Join with Family Promise of Las Vegas, where our mission is to bring homeless families with children home again, one family at a time. Visit fplv.org and become a friend of our family today.
Rich is just a really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. We've had a few people on our Twitter page asking about that Veterans in Politics event that I will be emceeing. I will be signing 8x10 Brian Shapiro pictures, by the way, if you'd like to show up for that. No, but in all seriousness...
There might be 4 or 5 people that want those pictures, by the way.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, we have put the information on that event, how you buy tickets, on our Twitter page, which I will be emceeing on February 8th. So go ahead and check that out. We have some breaking news. If we didn't have enough breaking news already today, with the Vegas Golden Knights firing Gerard Gallant, if that wasn't enough for you, well, guess what? The House has now transmitted the Trump impeachment articles to the Senate, paving the way for this historic trial. So it is official now. Nancy Pelosi has finally given in. What are your thoughts on that, guys? It's finally happened.
She's definitely caved. This will be dismissed relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I think Michael Avenatti was right. She probably did this too early, but she was in a tough spot because she has no control over what McConnell does here.
I don't know if I want to make predictions about the outcome, but yes, the ball is now rolling. We'll find out whether or not witnesses will be heard and how this is all going to break down. It'll be interesting to say the least.
You're going to hear little scraps of information because the Democrats will be scrambling to find whatever they can to increase their so-called case.
It's not necessarily just Democrats, JD. I think everybody wants to know the truth. They just want to know exactly how everything that happened and everything be out in the open, and then we're all good with that.
So what is the next step in the process, you ask? Well, Shapiro has the answer. Coming up today at 2 p.m., our time, a message will be brought to the Senate from the House reading clerk notifying senators that the House has appointed managers to exhibit the articles of impeachment. It'll also be interesting to find out who Nancy Pelosi has signed as those quote-unquote managers. So who is she siding with in that? There's been a lot of speculation to that as well. Pelosi introduced the lawmakers who will serve as House managers to prosecute the case against the president earlier today. So I'll name some of the, obviously Adam Schiff, House Intelligence Committee chairman. He'll serve as the lead manager. And who directed much of the House impeachment inquiry, as you know. Also, House Judiciary Chairman Gerald Nadler. I don't think there's any surprise there, who panel draft the articles of impeachment. Pelosi also tapped House Democratic Caucus Chairman Hakeem Jeffries. I think some people might be a little surprised at that. Jason Crow from Colorado also will be a part of this. Val Demings of Florida, Sylvia Garcia of Texas, and Zoe Lofgren of California. So actually, it was just announced.
And so what exactly does that mean? What are their roles in particular?
It's kind of like an oversight committee where they make decisions together. And if the Republicans are doing something that they don't like, if they oppose it, it kind of works as a court of law. It's almost like these are the attorneys.
It's a process.
Okay, so are they each cross-examining Donald Trump?
No. So
the
the way it works is this. What the Democrats are trying to do, and by the way, there are several Republicans that are interested in this. They're trying to get their own witnesses to come forward. And what idiots like Lindsey Graham are saying, and yes, I do think Lindsey Graham is a biased buffoon, well, let's bring Hunter Biden into this. Let's bring Hunter into this. Here's what I think the Democrats should do. They should be okay with that. You want to bring Hunter Biden up there, fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
But we get to bring Bolton up there and whoever we want.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
And that's exactly what could happen here is that the Republicans could bring up anyone who's been involved in any type of Democratic scandal for the last 2 or 3 years, including someone to talk about Hillary Clinton and her email
No, but
dossier.
this is all about Donald Trump.
What I'm saying, but the Republicans, they can still bring up whoever they
Which
want.
would be idiotic.
No, but
Idiotic.
they have the open door policy to do that.
But it would
now.
make them look foolish because this is about Donald Trump. This has nothing
What's
to do with
Hunter
Hillary
Biden going to
Clinton.
speak to about Donald Trump?
What it's about is muddying the waters. That's what it's all about. But just like with
this is whether Donald Trump committed a crime or not.
But what just happened with Iran and Soleimani? People aren't thinking about impeachment right now. They're thinking about World War III. They're thinking about potentially getting into World War. I'm just saying.
I understand.
It's all about muddying the water.
Okay, but I
and
understand.
creating plausible deniability.
Okay, but I understand what you're saying, but here's why I disagree. This has nothing to do with the people. This has everything to do with the rules of law, and this has to do with one thing and one thing in particular. That is whether Donald Trump withheld aid for political gain.
You don't think that trying to, because what are they? They have to turn 35 Republicans, is that right, to get Trump impeached?
I don't think it's that many.
66,
It's not that many.
No.
66%.
No, it's
Okay,
not that many.
we'll say 17. And you don't think that their constituents, quote unquote, the people, are going to be in the back of their mind when they're making that decision? Of course
But
they will.
that's not what this is
so
about,
It's all it's all about the people, because you have to get these. You have to get. We already know that he's been impeached.
Okay, we only got a
by
minute.
but if you want the Republicans to impeach Donald Trump, you have to get, we'll say, 15 to 20 of these people to turn on him, and they're going to be thinking about their constituents and who brought them into office when they do that. So it's all about the people.
Okay,
Brian.
I'm going to try to simplify this as easy as I can. If your friend was killed in a car accident, okay, and somebody ran a stop sign and was drunk, would we talk about that person's family, or would we talk about that person who committed the crime? This is specifically about the crime.
You get mad at people about making poor analogies, like Brady, for example, earlier, comparing Avenatti to was it Soleimani? You can't compare those two, Brian. This is a totally different
This is
situation.
about Donald Trump.
Donald Trump hasn't murdered anybody.
Okay,
No one has died on his
It's about
behest.
impeaching Donald Trump.
It's about whether this person committed a crime or not. This has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton or emails.
It's about Republicans admitting that Donald Trump committed a crime without and basically putting themselves up for not to not get reelected.
All right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Ariel Chambers from the Bleacher Report, the WNBA with a new CBA. We'll talk about that coming up next.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Special report: House sends impeachment articles to Senate. Partisan debate in the House today, just hours before the official transfer of the articles of impeachment to the U.S. Senate for a trial. Georgia Republican Doug Collins.
It is just said just a moment ago that the Speaker has been leading the fight for a fair trial in the Senate. I wish the Speaker had been leading for a fair hearing in the House instead of trashing our rules.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
I thank our distinguished managers for their courage, their dedication, for being willing to spend the time to do the job, to honor the oath that we take, and honor the pledge that our children take, allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands.
The House of Representatives just minutes ago officially voted to transfer the impeachment articles in just 3 hours of time to the Senate. I'm Mike Moss. The U.S. and China have signed a Phase 1 trade deal.
200 American and Chinese business leaders and media filling the East Room for the Phase 1 signing, pulling the U.S. and China back, de-escalating the trade war.
Today we take a momentous step, one that has never been taken before with China, toward a future of fair and reciprocal trade.
China says it will be buying more American goods and ag products under this partial agreement. Even if many issues are left unfinished, Wall Street has been pleased that some tariffs have been rolled back by both countries, and new tariffs set to go into effect a month ago were avoided. Bob Costantini, the White House.
No reports of any injuries, but the McGee-Tyson Air Base near Knoxville, Tennessee, has been placed on lockdown while authorities conduct a search after reports of shots fired on the base. Tennessee National Guard spokesman is calling it a developing situation. On Wall Street, the Dow up 91 points, S&P up just 2. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report, sponsored by Lowe's. Rainbow Boulevard still closed north and southbound between Spring Mountain and Sahara. Take an alternate route to get around the closure, like Buffalo or Torrey Pines. Also, an accident reported on Buffalo at Desert Inn. That's a hit-and-run accident investigation. And a crash on Grand Teton, west of Decatur at Thorne. Watch for police. No injuries are reported there. Pros do it right by shopping at Lowe's to save on the supplies they need most from the brands they trust to get the job done. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. My second business was open 6 days a week, and I worked from home the seventh day. I maintained that ridiculous schedule for 8 years. One Saturday morning in 1999, I woke up late for work and was greeted by my 6-year-old.
Oh, hi, Dad. Why aren't you at work?
I answered, because it's Saturday. He said,
Oh, thanks for visiting, Dad.
His words pierced my heart. I had become a workaholic. It was decision time. What's more important, family or work? I chose family, and I stopped working 7 days a week. That's why I created Patriot Software, so entrepreneurs can run their payroll in minutes, which gives more time for their families. Go to PatriotSoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll processing free. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
If you own a business and want to bring attention to it, there's no better way than wrapping your vehicles. While you or your employees are driving around Vegas, let your vehicles scream about your products or services. Share with everyone on the road why you're so special. With a single vehicle wrap getting anywhere from 30,000 to 80,000 views per day, according to the Outdoor Advertising Association of America. Turn your vehicles into an amazing, spectacular moving billboard. Let Intershine Graphics show you how with the best wrap in the business. Go to IntershineGraphics.com. IntershineGraphics.com.
Are you looking to sell your home?
No.
No commissions.
No waiting.
No listing.
No showing.
No repairs.
No closing costs.
No hassle.
The Easy Home Buyer wants your home now and will pay you cash regardless of the age or condition.
The Easy Home Buyer makes selling your home, well, easy.
Get cash fast without dealing with all the hassle. Sell your home now.
Call 833-EASY-003.
Once again, that's 833-EASY-003.
Or go to
EasyHomeBuyer.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Chris Wynn also joining us in studio, rolling out the red carpet for hour number 3. So glad you could join us. So much to get to in this last hour. And as I mentioned, I teased it last segment, the WNBA has reached a CBA agreement to include salary bumps and other cash compensation increases, including annual base pay for the league's highest paid players, $117,500 to $215,000. Plenty of other benefits where players can earn cash compensation in excess of $500,000 and more. The agreement is for 8 years, from 2020 to 2027. And somebody that does a fantastic job that has been on top of this story is Arielle Chambers. She works for the Bleacher Report, and she joins us right now on the line. Arielle, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I appreciate that. So explain to us how this came about. Have they been talking about this for the last year or two? Because we've heard, especially with the women's soccer team, about women getting paid more for what they do. Explain to us how long this has been going on for, and your thoughts on this CBA, this new deal.
I think we have a unique position where women are starting to use their voices more. We knew that the CBA was coming to an end this October, but people have been thinking about it for the past few years, like, okay, we know we're unfairly treated. How can we compromise with the league to have every party happy and in a practical way? And I think Nneka Ogwumike, the president of the WNBPA, has done an outstanding job collaborating with the WNBPA and the WNBA league office to just figure out a happy medium for both parties to be happy. That's also practical with where they're at as a league. And what you see more money coming in for the players. Though there's still some unsatisfied, players, that's always going to happen. But you just see us making steps in the right direction to please everybody. And just for the salary increase alone, you see a new amount of pride. I remember a little girl yesterday messaged me and was like, now that the CBA is out there and you know you can have more money, that it's now she has something to play for. Now she can see basketball as her future.
Sure.
And I think that's the whole point of the CBA continuing is like, okay, we see this, we see these numbers, and we see it going upwards, and that's just really inspiring to the masses.
So let me try to play devil's advocate here, and let me start by saying this: I enjoy going to Las Vegas Aces games. We've had Bill Laimbeer on the show a bunch of times. We have Kathy Engelbert on the show, the commissioner,
and they do a good job of marketing.
Yeah, and listen, I enjoy the product. They're fun games to go to. So I'm not one of those people that is anti-WNBA. I never have been, by the way, and I like the fact that people have a choice to be able to watch these professional women in action. With that being said, Ariel, I've said this on the show before that this is a league in the 22 years I believe it's been around that has lost money every year. It is a business that has lost anywhere from $10 to $12 million a year. With that being said, I've been let go from radio stations before, not fired, let go. And the reason why I've been let go has been for financial reasons. If a radio station is not making money, no one's ever come up to me and said, hey, Brian, we're going to give you a raise. We're going to double your salary, even though we're losing money every year. I guess that is my issue with this. I'm happy for the women. Don't get me wrong. I want them to be happy. I think it's great. But from a financial perspective, to me anyway, Ariel, this makes absolutely no sense if this is a business that loses money every year.
From financial investment, you have to invest, right? You have to see a business model where the public can see that, hey, we see this as a quality product. We're going to invest money in it. And so we get a better product to you guys. So I think that where the league has kind of struggled in the past is saying, hey, we're losing money every year. You don't tell the public that. How can you have a sense of pride in that? If they're like, you have to look at how the NBA was 25 years in. They were losing money as well. There are still some teams that are losing $60 million a year, which is more than the WNBA loses as a whole, one individual team. Yeah, there are profitable teams, obviously. You know, it's the biggest business in the world. But as far as WNBA, you're going to have to invest in things to get that return on investment.
Well, and from what
anywhere from merch, and it's like, and the merch is a big thing that I think that the league office sees, and that deals with Nike, that they're going to have to work out. But I think that if you put a product and you say, I want to give the money, put the money in to create, you know, the fandom, to create, it's a slow build, and you're just going to have the patience of that. But showing women that, hey, you matter, they're gonna stay from overseas, and they're not gonna get as injured, and they're gonna be able to play at their peak performance. And then I feel like the public's going to, you know, understand that. Same way with soccer. Soccer wasn't always as profitable, but you see the continued success of the U.S. women's national team, and you see that now they're the top sellers at Nike for their jerseys.
So you think that a lot of these women will stop playing overseas in the off season then, because they'll be making enough money now?
I think that we have to see how the CBA rolls out to see if it's worth it. But you know, FIBA as of now and EuroLeague as of now pays more.
Right.
But I think that there's those incentives that if you're making $500,000, your top players are going to stay at home. They can do the community work. They can get out there and be within the community so that they can build that fan base.
Well, and I think
right now we're not interested in expansion, but like, you know, the cities that do have it, they can have that cultivated fan experience.
Well, and I've seen a player like Kelsey Plum, who is in Los. She's very active on Instagram. She has a big following. It looks like she's got a lot of endorsement deals, so she's making some money off endorsements as well. But correct me if I'm wrong. The NBA actually owns the WNBA, and they have a giant TV deal. Is it possible that this money is coming from that TV money?
I don't want to speak on behalf of the WNBA where the money's coming from. We haven't really had a full transparent look at the CBA. We just received the press releases, obviously, and then heard on a conference call yesterday. But the NBA does make a conscious effort to support the WNBA, and we see that throughout the whole thing. But I think the WNBA is trying to position themselves in a place where they can stand alone. And it's going to be a long time coming because we're just getting into that era where we're believing in women. Do you know what I mean? So it's just
absolutely
it's just a matter of like trying to figure out where the money's going to come from. And I think personally that that's going to come from belief in merch and people buying that merch.
So, Ariel, I go back to the early 2000s. I had an opportunity actually to cover the Orlando Miracle back in the day, the Nikisha Sales, those teams back then. But you know, I think about it from a franchise standpoint, right? In the WNBA, there's been a lot of fluctuation, not necessarily franchises folding, but franchises moving around a lot. Do we anticipate you know, any more dealing with that on that standpoint? And also, you pointed out some of the details here. Obviously, we understand that players' salaries will go up. But what other aspects are we taking a look at as far as this deal that has gone down that is going to be beneficial as far as the WNBA players are concerned moving forward?
That's a good question, Chris.
As far as movement-wise, I see the franchises staying in place. We just saw a big move from the New York Liberty going to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So I think that's going to be great for attendance in the overall community of Brooklyn. But as far as other things covered in the CBA, I mean, paid maternity leave. Things as little as that we didn't realize the players didn't have at first. Like, that's huge. Just knowing you're valued as a woman who can give life and have a league that backs you, to have that paid maternity leave, huge. To have your own hotel room on the road.
Right.
Come on. Like, that used to be a vet privilege. Now it's the standard, and I love that. And extra space on the plane. I think that goes without reason. Most of them are like 6'4", 6'5". Like, come on.
Yeah, that's
true. It's time to make those changes.
And Bill
So I
Lambier
think that the players are seeing that.
Yeah, sure. Bill Lambier came on our show and he said that was the big difference in traveling, as opposed to being an NBA player and WNBA coach. He specifically mentioned the plane. So $217,000 is the pay for the top players. Who, in your opinion, is going to get that pay? So, give me 5 players you think will get that pay.
Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker, Liz Cambage, and just give me another vet, Sylvia Fowles.
Yeah, basically anybody who's a WNBA All-Star is going to be getting that kind of salary.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. 4, 5, 6 years down the road, if the WNBA is actually making a profit, we're going to look back at this and say, man, Ariel, that
great move.
You're absolutely right. This was a fantastic move, and you're right. It's investing. They're investing in a product, and it paid off. But I have to ask you this question. If we're sitting here 5 years from now, and the WNBA is still losing $10 million a year, then what do you say?
Then I challenge people to just bet on women. It's just to the point where you see our culture and our society accepting the fact that women belong in the sports space. And once you get past the negativity and just actually pay attention to the product, that's when you generate numbers, you generate viewership. Hopefully we'll have a deal so we don't have to revisit this and be like, dang, we were wrong.
I understand that. For somebody like me, I am a basketball junkie, right? I mean, I love basketball. I have a basketball background. When I go to a WNBA game, I say to myself, well, first of all, and I'm talking about the positives, it's affordable. You can bring your family to a game and have a great time. I can only speak for Las Vegas, but the environment is fantastic. It's very positive. Kids are having a fantastic time. I don't necessarily, and this is just me, I don't necessarily go to a WNBA game to watch Liz Cambage try to dunk. I go to a WNBA game because, the product's okay. I would say the product's, but it's the environment. It's kind of like when people go to a Major League Baseball game. Half the time people aren't even watching the game, and I'm not saying that fans that go to WNBA games aren't watching the game, but I'm saying a lot of people that go to Major League Baseball games, they say they go to the ballpark, to go for the environment. That's how I feel about the WNBA. Am I wrong in feeling that way?
You're not wrong. You're entitled to feel how you want to feel. But as far as you saying the product being okay, that's confusing to me because the majority of men who tell me that, or the majority of people who tell me that the product is just okay or is average basketball, just like dunk. So my response to that is go to a dunk contest. My thing is fundamentally, no, it's true.
I agree.
Fundamentally, the basketball is the top quality. These are Olympians. These are, world-class athletes that are playing the game at the highest skilled level. So to me, personally, the NBA is frantic to me. And that's just me speaking for, I used to be an NBA cheerleader, so I had to go to
what team? What team?
Games.
I want to know what team.
The Knicks.
The Knicks.
So
oh my God! Have you ever talked to James? Wait, have you ever talked to?
Watch your mouth.
Have you ever talked to James? Has James Dolan ever hit on you? Be honest.
No, oh my God, no. We weren't even allowed to go his way. Anyway.
That's fair.
But to me, the quality of basketball is so high, but people are expecting dunks. Like when you just the statement alone that you said Liz was I don't want to go to see Liz try to dunk. That's just not the basketball that they play.
Oh no, I understand that.
It's like an accessory to it. But the quality of basketball, seeing 44 games a year in the NBA and then seeing 34 in the WNBA, because I do go to multiple teams. Yep. It's just to me, the quality, there's no difference of quality. The pace is different, which I prefer the WNBA, but it's all about preference. If you like the environment and you're there, you're present, I can't say anything to you about that.
I don't know about that.
But,
look, I'd have to push back a little bit on that as far as the quality. You're saying that you think the quality of basketball, as far as the quality of play in the WNBA.
I think there's definitely more ball movement.
If you're arguing environment, then I'm arguing you go to NBA for entertainment, like just simply entertainment, not the actual game of basketball. So if you want to have like the environment because of like the slower pace and the lack of dunks, that's cool. Then I argue you just want entertainment. You don't want actual basketball for NBA.
No, I understand that. And listen, Ariel, I totally understand where you're coming from. The only thing that I would say, and listen, I'm not trying to bash WNBA players or female athletes. I would never do that. I'm just saying I don't think there's one men's college basketball team in the country that would lose to a WNBA team. And it's not their fault. I think it's a more physical game in the men's game. I'm not blaming anybody for that. And you're right. The games are a lot of fun to go to, and I support the Aces. I'm just saying from a standpoint of who would win, who's the better athlete, who's the better basketball player as a whole. It's not their fault, but I just think the men's game is just more physical. That's all I'm trying to say.
And I'm not trying to be a shot.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
And I'm not.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because each practice team for the WNBA has a men's practice team, and most of them had to play D1 basketball. Yeah. I'm not saying that they beat them every time, but
I didn't know that.
That's D1 basketball, though. That's not NBA.
Well, and Brian just said college. So that's totally valid.
I'll tell you what, that is a game I would absolutely love to watch. I would be there for that. Ariel, I know you said you have to go. I wish we could. This is a great. Well, I wish you could stay longer.
Because we have so much we could address here. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: could we get you on the show again in a week or two? Because I think this is a great debate and it's fun. Obviously,
of course, I'll debate you anytime on the WNBA.
Listen. Obviously, you've been around the game your whole life, and you know what you're talking about. I think it's a great debate to have, and I think it's a fair debate, and I certainly respect your opinion. And I'm happy. Make no mistake about it. I'm very happy for these women that they're going to be taken care of. Regardless of what my opinion is on the actual product, I'm happy for them. And if the NBA wants to fork up the money to do it, I hope it's a great investment.
And Brian, let's be honest. A WNBA team in New York, if you're making $60,000 to $80,000 a year, you can barely live anywhere. I mean, the money just wasn't enough. There needed to be an increase in pay, and this was necessary.
Ariel, I know
I'm glad that they were able to have a compromise on that, and I'm just really happy to see where this goes, but I will be back next week. Mark my words.
I have
a lot to say about the W.
I would love to have you back on the show next week. I think this is a great debate, Ariel. We really do appreciate your time. You do a great job with the Bleacher Report, and thank you so much. We look forward to having you on again soon. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
No, you bet.
Thanks a lot, Ariel.
There you go. That's Ariel Chambers with the Bleacher Report.
So much we could have got into there. We just didn't get an opportunity, time-wise.
Listen. I appreciate her perspective. I appreciate her opinions. I could not disagree with her more.
100%.
I am no authority when it comes to basketball, but let me tell you something, folks.
Yeah, you are, a little bit.
You can find the worst D1 college basketball team in the country. They would destroy the best WNBA team. First of all, we're using a men's basketball, not a women's basketball. We're using the men's rules. Okay.
Yeah, but what if you use the women's basketball? What if you use the women's rules?
It doesn't matter. You're getting into such a touchy spot here. If you're trying to compare women's basketball and men's basketball,
you can't just say that. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It's all about the WNBA. You can't say that you have to use a men's basketball and you have to use men's rules.
Well, but
you
JD,
have to compromise there at some point.
But JD, she made a blanket statement JD, she made a blanket statement that the WNBA is on par with NBA basketball.
That's insane.
On a basketball level. I absolutely disagree with it.
She said on a basketball level.
That's what she said.
You're talking ball movement. You're talking
JD,
offense.
she made the statement.
She's just saying that the NBA to her is entertainment, which it kind of is, considering it's totally star power driven.
Okay, let me ask you,
Ryan,
JD,
am I wrong in what she said?
And about 60% of the points are either 3-pointers or dunks.
JD, you're a smart guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Am I wrong?
Hey, don't give me a backhanded compliment. You can do that to guests. You can't do that to me, bro.
Okay. You're a stupid guy. Is that what you want me to say? Let me start out by saying this. You're telling me you find the worst NBA team, because that's what we're talking about here, and the best WNBA team, the spread would be 75 and a half.
I'm saying the point. I'm saying the style of play is totally different.
She wasn't talking about style of play.
I'm not talking about style. Who would win?
She's not talking.
JD, you heard what she said.
Brian, that's like taking candy from a baby.
JD.
Obviously, an NBA team would destroy
that's
a WNBA
what I'm talking
team.
about. JD.
But that's not what she was talking about, and she
what
knows.
Was she talking about?
Because
and what was she trying to say?
When she comes on next week, she's saying the brand of basketball is better because it's different. It's not entertainment based. It's not dunks. It's actual offense.
The quality
it's
of basketball,
it's actual.
The quality.
Just listen. Yeah, exactly. The quality.
The quality of basketball.
The quality. Yeah, that doesn't mean head to head women versus men.
So let me be clear on this one. Let me give my. Let me be clear.
And Brian, you didn't ask her that. If you asked her that, she would say obviously the NBA.
Well, I will
would
ask her next week. We didn't have time.
And she's not going to even answer
the
question.
She said it, and then I called her out.
Because every single person.
Okay, let me be clear.
Okay, the average NBA center is 7 foot freaking 1. The tallest player in the WNBA is 6'8", and she's very slow of foot. The average NBA two-guard is 6'8", and has a 40-inch vertical. I mean, it wouldn't even be a conversation. So, and she knows that. She's just saying that the NBA to her is entertainment.
I get your point.
So JD's making our case, but I'm
just saying it's not even.
All right, guys, calm down.
You can't even have the conversation.
All right, so let me be very clear on this one. And I spoke to a few college basketball. In fact, even Marvin Menzies. That might be a bad person to ask, but I asked him. I said,
"Remember that?
Don't you think Bishop Gorman would beat the Las Vegas Aces?" He said, "Absolutely, it wouldn't be close." Now, here's why.
Now,
hold on.
Bishop
Let me
Gorman
finish.
has what, 5
Let me finish.
4 stars a year?
A good varsity boys basketball team would beat a WNBA team. Here's why. They are much faster. They're much stronger. The game is above the rim.
Yeah.
These women would not be able to compete underneath the basket.
And again, that's not the argument, Brian.
Well, that's the argument that I made.
That was JD. That was the argument that she made. She talked about the quality of play on the court.
That does not.
She was talking about the basketball
she was
on the court.
talking about the brand of basketball.
Why is it so hard to understand?
She was talking. She was not saying that the Mercury would beat the Knicks. She was not saying that the Aces would beat the Lakers.
I just told you what she said.
All right, well, listen.
And we can play it back if you want to hear what she said. Black. She said the quality of play of basketball in the WNBA is the same as the NBA.
Hang on. Let me be clear on this.
That's what she said.
Okay, hang on. Let me be clear on this. I don't want to put words in her mouth. She's going to come back on her show.
You don't have to. You can play it back.
Hold on. It is my personal opinion that she was saying that the quality of basketball, and when you say quality, how good are you? Are you better? Are you the quality of the Golden State Warriors or the LA Lakers? Yeah. The difference in quality is the Lakers would destroy the Golden State Warriors right now because they have more talent. They're better. What I'm telling you is that the worst NBA team, I don't know who, Atlanta Hawks, for example, the Atlanta Hawks would destroy a WNBA team, women's or men's rules. It wouldn't be, the spread would be like 80 points. They would embarrass them. A really good high school boys varsity basketball team would beat most WNBA teams. You could not find me one Division I college basketball team, in my opinion, that would lose to any WNBA team. Now, if you want to say, well, the women have fantastic fundamentals, you know what? I've seen some 8th grade boys teams that have good fundamentals too. It doesn't mean they play better basketball. I respect her opinion wholeheartedly, and she covers the WNBA, and she does a great job. We just disagree on this, and I want to give her an opportunity to make her case when she has more time and when she comes on, hopefully next week. Listen, I'm happy for these women. I'm happy for the fact that these women who work really hard are going to make a lot more money. I'm happy for, but I'll tell you one thing. If you're a woman making $200,000-300,000 a year in the WNBA, and right before the season starts, you decide to have a kid, I'm going to tell you that's a little bit irresponsible, okay? When your job is to be out there on the floor for your team and you make a personal decision to have a child, I'm not so sure I agree with the WNBA. This is different. This isn't in the workplace like an office job or something else. This is a professional athlete. I don't know. I don't know if I want
to go anywhere near that.
Well,
but,
I am.
Back on this point about the quality of play in the WNBA. She also brought up as a reasoning was because of former Division I players going to practice and getting allegedly schooled by WNBA players.
She
like
said
Steven
that,
Zimmerman Jr. going to Aces games and apparently
Steven Zimmerman is not an NBA player.
No, but you know what I'm saying. She brought that up as a reason.
They don't
she
always
brought
win
that up
those
as a
games.
reason.
She said that I'm sure it's probably 60-40, but they're definitely competitive in those particular situations. And Brian, you said Bishop Gorman. That's like a top 5 high school basketball team.
Use any example, JD.
No, a WNBA team would beat a decent high school basketball.
I disagree.
No, I disagree.
No, I think they would.
How about the best team in Iowa, JD, out of Des Moines or something?
Yes.
The best high school boys team from Iowa playing against the Las Vegas Aces. Who wins the game?
Aces win.
I disagree completely.
Yeah. There's a thing in basketball called defense that you can play that the men have a significant advantage of in a situation like that.
17-year-old, 18-year-old kids against 22 to 26-year-old.
7-footers.
Something
going up against.
There
you said it yourself. 6'8", high player, 6'8".
That's NBA. That's not
WNBA.
Iowa. Iowa, the state of Iowa, because you chose a bad state. The state of Iowa produces.
I'm choosing just a random state. I'm using it as an example.
No, but it produces about 2 to 3 Division I basketball players.
We're getting in the weeds, though. I mean,
so
we're making a general point, right?
But you're trying to make a statement like they would beat anybody. That's not the case.
What's the general point,
I
though?
think that the best team in California would beat the Aces. I think the best team in New York could beat the Aces, but not Iowa.
Like I said, you're getting in the weeds. It's a general point that Brian
But
was making.
she made the
good
statement.
high school team,
Hold
yes,
on.
would beat
She made
a
the
WNBA
statement
team.
that I said the worst D1 college basketball team.
It's a general point. Is
would
what you're making.
absolutely beat any WNBA team. We're talking 19, 22-year-old men who the physicality that these women would not be able to withstand that. I'm sorry.
And we're not
that's-
talking about what
the
state they're
Aces-
from, JD, or what,
we'll put it this
what
way.
high
Here's-
school. It doesn't matter.
Here's
It's a general
here's a
point.
familiar team. The Aces would beat Wyoming, in my opinion.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Absolutely. No
You're
way.
entitled to your opinion. I
That's
just
fine.
think it's ridiculous.
That's fair.
I think that's insane. That's just my personal opinion. But I think that's crazy. But hey, then again, you said a week or two ago that you thought there was a chance Gerard Gallant would have been fired, and I called you crazy.
And I
then.
believe,
You're right.
and I believe,
You're
I,
right.
I believe I'm a professional sports bettor as well. I believe I handicap games for a living. I'm pretty sure I do that.
All right,
I'm fairly certain that that's what I do.
Well,
It-
that has
let's-
nothing to do with
hold on.
the WNBA and college or high school players playing against each other.
We have Bill Laimbeer coming up next, so we're going to maybe get into this discussion. The head coach of the Las Vegas Aces will be joining us next segment to talk a little bit about this. And I guess we could pose him that question. Obviously, the first thing I'm going to do is ask him about this situation, and I'm sure he's happy for his players in the league. We'll talk about that with the Las Vegas Aces head coach Bill Laimbeer. And then we will talk about the product. And I want to ask him these questions. I think he'll answer them honestly. Does he think a Division I men's basketball team would lose to a WNBA team? I think that's a very, very fair question to ask Bill Laimbeer. We'll ask him that and his thoughts on this coming up next. Of course, Bill Laimbeer, a legend for the Detroit Pistons, not just a wonderful head basketball coach for the Las Vegas Aces, and he's won championships.
Yeah.
He's a great basketball coach, but also an
player.
unbelievable player in the NBA. So what better person to ask that than Bill Laimbeer? So we'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. We got Bill Laimbeer, the head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, coming up next right here on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance.
Stock market have you nervous? With all the recent fluctuations, it's hard to guess what will happen next. With Vantage Point, you don't have to. Our technology can forecast market trend changes with up to 86% accuracy. That's right, 86%. Founded by artificial intelligence software developers, Vantage Point gives traders and investors the advantage you need to stay ahead of market trends and better protect yourself from sudden downturns. Vantage Point's patented proprietary technology is able to analyze massive quantities of data all around the world in seconds. No more guessing when to get out or when to stay, buying too high and selling too low. Text money to 411-411. That's MONEY to 411-411. We'll send you a link to our free demo so you can kick off the new year in the black with Vantage Point software. Text money to 411-411.
Go to VantagePointSoftware.com for terms, conditions, and privacy policy.
Impeachment articles to Senate. The two articles of impeachment against President Trump will be in the hands of the Senate in only 3 hours. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling for the Senate to conduct a fair trial with witnesses and documents.
The Senate leader and the president are afraid of more facts coming to light. That is why the leader signed onto that dismissal resolution. A dismissal, again, is a cover-up. The American people will fully understand the Senate's move to begin the trial without witnesses and documents as a pure political cover-up.
Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy accuses Pelosi of failing to have built a strong case.
These delayed tactics were self-serving, hypocritical, and discrediting. But they made an important admission. Some might even call it a concession. You proved a very big point. Democrats do not even believe their case was robust enough to win in a trial.
The Senate trial starts Tuesday. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. You got some police activity that has closed Rainbow southbound in between Sahara and Spring Mountain. I'd go ahead and get with Buffalo or Torrey Pines instead. Also a collision on Decatur at Elkhorn. I'd watch for delays near here as well. Pros do it right by shopping at Lowe's to save on the supplies they need most from the brands they trust to get the job done. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. I'm Ryan Levine, and that's a look at the roads from the KDAWN Traffic Center.
Have you been lied to by Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine? Hi, I'm Inc. Magazine bestselling author Brett Kitchen. And if you're over 55 with an IRA or 401k, I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because according to Time Magazine, Wall Street's 401ks have failed millions of Americans. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough. And since then, I discovered a way to grow money potential double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free book and talk to a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose in the next market crash.
Call 800-436-8181 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 800-436-8181. 1-800-436-8181. That's 1-800-436-8181.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, a million questions flood your mind.
How can this be happening?
Am I going to be able to work?
What's a subtype? What do I do now?
We know.
We went through it too. But once you start to understand your options,
You can partner with your doctor and find ways to face MBC on your own terms.
visit findyourmbcvoice.com and learn how to speak up and have a more informed conversation with your doctor.
Some questions have answers. Visit findyourmbcvoice.com to find some of yours.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Chris Wynn also joining us in studio. We're talking about this new CBA deal in regards to the WNBA that includes a salary bump, other cast compensation increases, certainly life-changing for a lot of these women that play in the WNBA and for the future of the league. And joining us on the line right now, not only is he an NBA champion, an NBA legend, but he is our coach, and he does a wonderful job, and he has done a wonderful job as the coach of the Las Vegas Aces. That would be Coach Bill Laimbeer. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, not a problem. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Okay, so Bill, what was your first reaction when you heard about this new CBA deal? What went through your mind?
Well, I'm on the board of governors, so I've been involved and understand what's going on all the time. But basically, at the end of the day, I've been in this business a long time, 15 years. This is a win-win for everybody. It's a win for the owners of the teams that have made a commitment for the long-term success of this league. And it's a win for the players because they got a substantial increase, not only in contractual money, but also in other aspects like, airline flights, hotels, health and mental health awareness stuff. So all said and done, it's a great deal for everybody involved.
So, Coach, we've had we just had Arielle Chambers from the Bleacher Report that came on, and she looked at this. This is an investment by the NBA, right? You have to look at it as an investment. Do you see it the same way? Do you see this as an investment for the NBA and looking ahead and saying in the end the WNBA is going to be making some money, and that's the way they're kind of looking at this, or am I wrong in thinking that way?
Well, the NBA only has a couple teams involved with us right now. A lot of independents. We're an independent. The NBA does own half the league, though. But overall, this is mostly the burden of the cost falls upon the individual team owners. And moving forward in many ways in this agreement here. But I think also the league, the NBA is Adam Silver is still our main guy for us also. They realize that this is a growing thing. This is a growing sport. Women's professional basketball, women's sports in general, has really stood on their head, as a hockey cliche would say,
right?
And have really come to the forefront. So I think yes, it's going to grow. How fast it grows still remains to be seen, but the future is pretty bright.
So I'm not really up to speed on financials. We hear some people that maybe, shrug this and say, well, wait a second, is the WNBA, are they making money? I thought they've been losing money. So if somebody comes up to you, Coach, and says, wait a second, the WNBA, I thought they were losing $10 to $12 million every year. How do you justify paying players more money if the league isn't making money? What would you say to them?
Well, that's the investment part that you were just talking about a minute ago. The NBA for giant numbers of years lost huge amounts of money.
Right.
And still does in many teams right now.
Right, that's true. Yep.
And they make it up on the franchise value over the course of years. We're not there yet, but that's the plan, is to, make the franchises valuable. So you lose some money on the short term as long as you got the pockets to handle it. and make it up on the backside as your franchise value increases, whether you want to sell or maintain that franchise for the future. So I think that's the business model that the men had, for all those years where they got their butts kicked financially, and it's been successful for them. Like I said, this is not going to happen overnight, but this is a long-term investment by all parties.
So, Bill, you brought up, of course, the travel arrangements, the day-to-day operations of teams around the WNBA. And, of course, there's been a lot of discussion about that the past few years, probably the past 10, 15 years, with respect to, teams being able to use private jets and that type of thing. Are you one of those people that's a believer that there should be some type of competitive balance around the WNBA? Or are you someone who says, hey, the owners should be able to do whatever they want and fend for themselves, and if they want to, take care of their team or their players in their way that they want to, they should be able to do that? Are you on board with that, or are you more on, everybody should be on a competitive level evenly?
Yeah, all the above. As a player and as a coach, and as a franchise like Las Vegas, who is very committed to this situation, I'd love to have our opportunity to do whatever we wanted to. It just costs money, as I always say.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also get that's also an association. It's not a group of individuals trying to beat each other up across the board. It's an association for the good of the long term. So I get the part where you need a competitive advantage you need a softening of cost advantages by certain franchises. There still always will be. But of any magnitude that would give somebody a major advantage, I think that's not going to fly right now.
Because you think about it, the average person that views the WNBA, they think, the Vegas Aces, they should get a huge advantage. MGM, they have a flock of planes. They can, they could give the Vegas Aces all kinds of great amenities other teams couldn't get. Yeah, that you didn't have, Bill, and say, for example, I don't want to use the Detroit Shock as an example because Detroit, obviously had resources, but maybe if it was the Tulsa Shock or whatever, or a team that doesn't necessarily have an owner that is this has unlimited resources. You know what I'm saying? You get my point.
Yeah, I get it. That's why the association has their rules, and and everybody talks it out, and everybody understands that. You can't have one team go off and try to carry a league.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. It has to be all 12. We have 12 teams. All 12 teams have to find a way to work together to be successful. Then it becomes management. You don't go out and buy things like some presidential candidate trying to buy what is billions.
Right.
You have to go out and management wins in the long run.
Wait, so is that a Bloomberg blast? That was a Michael Bloomberg blast.
Was it Steyer or Bloomberg?
The above.
Okay, cool. Hey, so Bill, does this trickle down to the coaches as well? This pay increase?
No. The coaches are outside of any. A team can pay its coach as much as they want to, or a president, or a general manager, or whatever. There are a few rules for assistants as far as how many you can have, things like that. But the actual salary levels is up to each individual franchise.
So, Bill, I have to ask you one stupid question. Forgive me, and then I know we'll let you go.
It's about Dennis Rodman.
No, it's not about Dennis Rodman.
Brace yourself.
No, it's not about Dennis Rodman. No, but listen, we've been having this debate, Bill, on this show for a long time. What better person to ask than you about this? Do you think there is a Division I men's team out there, maybe a bad D1 men's team, that could lose to a WNBA team? Do you think that's possible? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. The women are very, very talented.
I agree.
I start 6'9", 6'5", in my front court. I have shooters. The physicality is the one thing that would limit our ability to compete. But from a pure basketball perspective, there's no question that the women, and especially the professional women, are outstanding in how they go about their business, their execution. So that what gives us a problem would be that the sheer size across the board of the men. But upsets happen. Can we beat the Kentuckys of the world? Probably not, because of their athleticism is just so superior for men versus women.
And I think that one thing that Brian's not thinking about is the depth. You have a lot of depth on your team, and a lot of these. Let's say, and I said Wyoming, for example, a Mountain West school. I think the Aces would absolutely beat Wyoming right now because you have depth. Wyoming doesn't, it's just a better. It's just you play better basketball, more ball movement, in my opinion, and again the depth.
And it's better talent. Better basketball players is what the professional basketball is about. They're the cream of the crop.
Sure.
Then becomes the physicality part. But as far as pure basketball players, these are highly skilled professional athletes, top of the world in how they do business.
Well, Bill, listen, I'm going to bring Bloomberg front row to your next Las Vegas Aces game. I'm going to put,
He's gonna have a 32-ounce big. He's gonna have a 32-ounce big gulp right and sit and watch your game.
What's that, Coach? I didn't hear what you said. What'd you say?
There's a whole bunch of billionaires floating around the politics.
Yeah, that's right. Bill, listen, I always appreciate it when you take time to join us on the show. I'm really happy for your players in the league. And we're very lucky. I've said this every time you come on, and I mean it. Vegas is very lucky to have you as the head coach of the Las Vegas Aces. Thank you so much for joining us, Bill. We really do appreciate it.
I really appreciate that. And from what I read in the Detroit papers, we got a new coach coming our way eventually.
That's what I've heard as well. Yes, Detroit. That's what I've heard as well. So we'll see who we'll see who that's going to be. But Bill, thank you so much again for joining us. Really do appreciate it.
Got it. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
There you go, Bill Laimbeer, NBA legend, head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, joining us.
Former Dennis Rodman teammate, as JD pointed out.
I wasn't asking.
He was definitely thinking about asking a Dennis Rodman.
No, not at all.
Or something about Catholicism. Notre Dame.
Maybe a Larry Bird question.
Look, here's the deal.
But
Coach Laimbeer, he's partial to the WNBA. Obviously, he's a coach of the Aces, but I still disagree with this notion. Look, they're two separate things. Men's basketball and women's basketball, they're not the same. So this notion and comparison of teams and saying a bad D1 college team would lose to a WNBA team, I just don't buy it. I'm sorry.
Listen, we respect Bill Laimbeer's opinion, just like we respect JD's opinion, or Ariel Chambers from the Bleacher Report. I just completely disagree with it. That's all. And I just think it's a completely different game. The physicality, and Bill Laimbeer actually mentioned it. I think the physicality. I think the women would.
It's a major factor.
I mean, obviously against a deep Kentucky team, but an Aces team with 10 guaranteed. They've got 10 players. They're all professional players against like a Wyoming or a San Jose State or a New Mexico who's got 5 or 6 productive players and 3 or 4 guys on the bench. Maybe one's a freshman. Maybe there's an injury occurring. I'm telling you, Brian, the Aces would beat a lot of teams in Division I.
All right.
basketball.
Well, listen, we are going to have we have to move on, but we are going to have Ariel Chambers from the Bleacher Report back on. I want to get into a really good debate with her. Mm-hmm. We really do appreciate Bill Laimbeer taking some time to join us. And by the way, I mean that he's a heck of a basketball coach. He's done a great job with this Aces team, and they're going to continue to be really good. And the environment's great at Mandalay Bay. It's really a fun time to go to these Aces games, and I am truly happy for these players. I am. I'm happy for these players because they all seem like pretty good people, especially the Aces. I can speak for them. They're fun to talk to. They're fun to interview, and I'm happy for the league. I'm happy for these players. But I'm telling you right now, in 5 years from now, if this league is not making money, it's not going to be the right decision.
You're not going to have to wait that long, Brian. I'm talking about 2 or 3 years from now. The verdict will be out on all this. Yep. 2 or 3 years.
And I'm not so worried about the Aces players. Las Vegas isn't it's not a very expensive place to live, but L.A., New York, those very, very big cities where the standard of living is extremely high, making $60,000 a year just doesn't cut it. And now that they're getting 120 to 140 in some cases.
Well, no, more than that. Yeah.
Well, no, in some cases 220,000, but pretty consistently 120 to 140. Now they can buy. They can probably purchase a house. They have much more discretionary income, and they can survive in those major cities.
Oh, they can. Here's the deal, though, JD and Brian, and you guys know this. They've been going overseas for years, and I think they'll still continue to go overseas because those salaries are still out there for those women players to make, and those leagues actually, for whatever reason, in those countries, they do well. So I don't see any reason why they're going to stop doing that and going overseas and playing.
Yeah, no question. Listen, this is a conversation we will continue to have. Yeah. As I mentioned, we'll get Ariel Chambers back on to talk about this. But anyway, it's a good story for the WNBA. I am happy for our players, and we appreciate Bill Laimbeer taking some time to talk to us about this. All right, when we come back, Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm, the co-creator of Seinfeld, completely freaking lost his mind yesterday. We'll explain, and we have the audio to prove it. We will explain it to you, and we will play that audio, and it has something to do with autograph seekers. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
This is a cow whose milk became everyone's favorite cheese at the craft fair. But cheese only lasts so long. The impression a small business makes needs to last much longer. And now Vistaprint is introducing free shipping on all business cards in any quantity. Choose from hundreds of fresh designs tailored to your type of company, or upload your own. The choice is yours. The time is now. For a limited time only, get free shipping on all business cards in any quantity with promo code 8585. That's promo code 8585 at Vistaprint.com. Vistaprint. Own the now.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
My name is Tim Mullen. I'm the Center Director for USO Las Vegas. We rely heavily on our volunteers. They're the heart and soul of our organizations, the one on the front lines greeting our service members and their guests, whether it's through our lounges at the airport or all the outreach events that we do on base. So we encourage anyone interested in getting involved to volunteer with the USO and support our local military community. Our service members and their families can use your help. You can get involved by going online to volunteers.uso.org or calling us at 702-261-6590.
Las Vegas is glitz and glamour, but between neighborhood greenways and marquees lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans. Our nation's heroes who've ensured our freedoms, who haven't escaped the effects of war. Veterans Village is a place of hope, providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless veterans. Veterans Village is a nonprofit that saves lives, but we need you. Please donate today at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Chris Wynn also joining us in studio. By the way, we are always streaming live on YouTube at the Vegas Take. Check out our website, thevegastake.com. Always fun to have Bill Laimbeer on the show. We appreciate him taking some time to join us.
He's not afraid to chime in on politics either.
You know, also some sombering breaking news. The LVMPD is investigating an officer-involved shooting that occurred on 6900 block of Spring Mountain Drive. Apparently, someone came into the bank, tried to rob it, shot the lady in the face that was working at the desk, and ran away. And he's actually no one's found him. There was a shooter on the loose on foot right now, and they're asking people to stay away from that area.
Which bank is it?
I don't know what bank it was.
6900 block
69 of Spring Mountain
That
Road.
could easily be a
Sounds
Wells
like
Fargo
Wells
over
Fargo.
there. Yeah, it sounds like where because I live right down the street from there.
So you're saying somebody went in there and robbed the bank and shot the teller and killed the teller?
Yeah, shot the teller.
Oh,
in
that's awful.
Shot the teller in the face. A female teller killed her,
Oh,
and then
That's
ran
horrendous.
away. There's helicopters all over.
Oh,
SWAT is rolling in. So
this happened within the last hour.
So there is probably a runner on the loose with a weapon that has not been caught.
Oh, Jesus. Well, there's going to be video surveillance. They're going to find out. I just feel horrible for this poor woman, her friends and family. Thoughts and prayers. This is just terrible. You know what? If some bastard is going to decide to break the law and commit a felony and rob a bank, why do you have to kill somebody? Why do you have to take somebody down with you? Just take the money and get the hell out of there. I don't understand these bastards that commit these crimes. Why do you have to pull the trigger and kill this poor woman?
Especially when that money is insured through the bank. They have no problem giving it up under those circumstances. Obviously, robbing a bank isn't the ideal situation, but the money is insured.
I'm so
Why
hopeful.
shoot this woman?
I'm so hopeful that Metro clamps down and finds this guy immediately.
Find this bastard.
I mean, this is bad.
Well, my concern now, if you have somebody on the loose that just killed somebody, his mindset is he's probably going to kill somebody else.
Exactly.
So this is not a good situation.
Apparently he must have shot the officer at the bank as well, and that's how he got out. Is my guess.
Ugh. Well, gosh, we hope that they catch this bastard and nobody else is hurt. Just a horrible story to have to report. Oh, yeah, I'm reading some of it right now on some of the news stations, and it's not good. It's not good. So we'll continue to monitor that story. As JD just said, somebody walking into a bank on Spring Mountain, which is literally a couple miles down the road from where we are, shooting a teller,
not very far away.
shooting a female teller, killing her, executing her, and now is on the loose. Oh, boy, horrible. Anyway, I don't even know how I make a transition from that to Larry David.
It makes it very difficult given some of the stories you've been talking about today, and now you have such a serious story like that.
Yeah, it's horrible. Well, like I said, thoughts and prayers to her family. They hope they get this son of a bitch that did this and put him away for a long time, because this is just awful, awful news. And like I said, we'll continue to report on it. If we need to get Metro to come on the show tomorrow and give a description of this bastard who did this, we will absolutely do that and help in any way we can. Wanted to talk a little bit about Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm. Kind of a tough transition, but Larry David was attending last night. I believe it was the premiere of season 10 of Curb Your Enthusiasm in L.A. And as he's walking out of this building, there are these autograph seekers that were waiting for him to sign autographs. And these guys are vultures. You know, what I don't like is a lot of these professional autograph seekers, they're doing it because it's a business and they're trying to make money. This isn't like if I met Larry David and if I asked him to sign something, I'm just a huge fan of his. I'd hang it up in my wall. And I don't think he'd have a problem with that. But it's these bastards that go around and stalk these celebrities to get them to sign stuff so they can sell it on eBay or wherever. I think it's just dumb. But anyway, I love Larry David. And I love the fact that he kind of went off on these autograph seekers. So I want you to listen to this audio. This is Larry David last night walking out of his season 10 premiere. He's probably a little tired, a little cranky. He's Larry David, a little neurotic. And there's about, let me set the scene. There's about 7 or 8 autograph seekers that are waiting next to his car for him to sign these posters and stuff. And here is the audio from Larry David.
Larry, we waited 7 hours for you. I didn't tell you to wait 7 hours. No. Can I do one each, Larry? You gotta find another way to make money, okay? This is nobody wants to do this. We don't want to do this. Why are you doing it? I've seen you at the airport. Okay? Stop it. Stop this. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants this. Stop this. Just stop it, okay? It's so annoying to do this, to see you all the time. Do you understand? No, you don't.
No, we're sorry.
No, you don't. That's it.
All right, so
Larry David critiquing some of those people, their occupational choices by saying, find something else to do.
There were a lot of F-bombs in there, and this is the funny part about Larry David, and it's why the guy has a good heart. He still signed autographs. He still signed for everybody, and then he walks to his car, and he's so pissed off. But that is Larry David. And by the way, I'm on his side here. I don't blame him. Look, if it's a situation where you have a few kids, you know, that are just fans, or even somebody like me, even though it'd be a little weird. Somebody like me, say, Larry, you know, I'm such a big fan of yours, you know. And by the way, I met Larry David at the Michael Jordan charity golf tournament, and I have an autograph. He does not like autograph seekers. This guy goes up to him, middle-aged guy, maybe in his 50s, says, Larry, can you sign? And by the way, I went up to him, and he was talking to me, and I was saying how much a big fan I am of Curb, and he was very appreciative. He was very nice to me. Didn't ask him for a picture or an autograph. This guy walks up and says, can you make this out to Mike? Can you sign this for me? Oh, my God, he got so pissed off. He grabs the program. Of course I'll make it out to Mike because you're the most important person in the world. He signs the program to Mike. You are the most important person in the world, Larry David. He was genuinely pissed off at this guy.
I would disagree with you, O'Brien. I'm not exactly on his side. I think a lot of this comes with the job. You don't know when you walk out, right, of the airport or any establishment, and there's a bunch of people there looking for an autograph or a picture. You can't distinguish who's going to be the leeches that are making money as opposed to just people that genuinely want to have an autograph or a picture or spend some time with you. I think as a celebrity, there's a certain amount that comes with that. And so I wouldn't be completely on board with what you just said as far as like, oh, I completely agree with him, because I don't think that's necessarily the way you have to approach it.
I think this is kind of a publicity stunt to get Larry David back into the minds of America.
I don't think so.
Doesn't need it, though, does he?
He doesn't need it.
You're wrong. Come on. With Curb Your Enthusiasm coming out, last night and this happening,
you're wrong.
The attention's drawn to Larry David. It's going to help the show. To me, that's what I think this is. But obviously, and Chris is totally right. It comes with the territory. The guy is worth $700 million.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is right there with The Sopranos as one of the most watched TV shows in the history of HBO and in the history of television. Trust me, JD, if we're going to have
this story is going to draw attention to Larry David, which is going to increase the the viewership of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I just think Larry David's neurotic nature was on display.
This story is going to make Larry David money. And it's going to make HBO money. Yes, it will. Of course it will.
Listen. We can debate over basketball, whether you think a WNBA team. This is a completely different scenario. I'm telling you 150.
You're trying to argue that this publicity that he got from this is not going to help him and make him money and make HBO money.
Whenever Larry
increase, can I explain? And the fact this happened the day before or the day of the Curb Your Enthusiasm came out, there's a reason. It's not coincidental.
Here's why you're wrong.
There's a reason for it, in my opinion.
Makes sense.
Here's why you're wrong. Anytime Larry David wants to do The Tonight Show, anytime Larry David wants to go on any show he wants, he would get that opportunity.
Okay.
I don't care if it's Rush Limbaugh. I don't care if it's, The Tonight Show or Jimmy Fallon.
I'm not arguing that.
Any type of free publicity Larry David wants, he's going to get because he's Larry David. And Curb, again, let me say this again. Curb Your Enthusiasm is one of the most watched shows in the history of television. If Tony Soprano James Gandolfini had a new episode of The Sopranos, and he got a little angry like Larry David did about some autograph seekers, would you say the same thing? Of course not. He doesn't need the free publicity.
No, but Brian,
and what happened 2 weeks ago? Larry David was quoted talking about athletes in New York City. Why? Because Curb Enthusiasm's coming out again. They want
he's
the
promoting,
attention.
of course.
The HBO.
But this is not a stunt.
I'm just saying it's going to add publicity. It's going to make him money. It's going to make HBO money. It's going to increase his shows.
But you made it like it was prearranged. That was.
I'm not shocked, but situations like this remind America that Larry David is still here and he's still working.
I don't think he needs to do that on TMZ.
And I'm not suggesting
yell
that,
at some autograph
and I don't
seekers.
think that he needs to, but it does it.
I don't think it was prearranged, Brian. I think, but to JD's point, I think it is something. Look, you compared it to going on the Tonight Show. No, it's not like that. This is a unique situation where it's in front of autograph seekers. He's raising hell. He knows there's going to be paparazzi there or people filming it like they were, and that it's a very unique type of deal. It's not like he's going on the Tonight Show or something.
It's
and
not a
promoting
tour.
it.
It's not a book tour.
It's a different type of way that you get more publicity on your show.
The way that he acted in this particular situation is exactly how he will act on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Again, I completely disagree with you guys. He doesn't have to do that. But anyway, this
doesn't have to. That's his personality.
I'm not ironic.
It doesn't mean that he isn't doing it.
All right. Well, I don't want to debate it any more than 3 minutes. That was enough. But anyway, what I do want to say is this. I thought this was really funny. When Larry David asked them, why are you guys doing this? One guy responded by saying, we're not smart enough for other work.
That's great.
That was funny.
That's a great comeback.
That is a good comeback. Larry David, we couldn't play the swears. This is effed up. This is effed up. Like he was really, really angry. And by the way, if you're a celebrity, I do agree that sometimes it comes with the territory. But when it's everywhere you go in public and everybody's following you, the paparazzi asking you for autographs and pictures, that could be extremely annoying, okay? There's a time and a place. If you're at like a premiere, this was a premiere, I get that. But if you're at a public restaurant or if you're with your family, I think it should be off grounds. If you're with your family walking out of the airport with a child, I remember there was one video of Halle Berry walking out of the airport with her 2-year-old, and you've got all these cameras in her face. That is inappropriate. It's one thing if it's work-related, and this was work-related, but it's another thing if you're in a private setting with your family or you're walking with kids. I just think it's...
We're not talking about that, though. That's
I understand.
Not what this was.
I'm just saying there's a line.
Celebrities are people too, Brian.
I'm just saying that there's a line that you should not cross. Anyway, this has been a very entertaining show, I must say. It's been an interesting 3 hours. We are going to continue to cover this story, the Vegas Golden Knights firing head coach Gerard Gallant. And what better person to have on the show tomorrow than Kid Poker himself. He is a Vegas Golden Knights superfan and an extremely intelligent guy. Daniel Negreanu will be joining us on the show tomorrow. We want to get his thoughts on this. It's been a fun show, gentlemen, and if you missed any of it, of course, check it out on our YouTube page, The Vegas Take, SoundCloud page, The Vegas Take, and of course, our website, The Vegas Take as well. Enjoyed it, gentlemen. This was a lively show, a lot of good debate, as always. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. The legend himself, Sean Hannity, will be coming up next on The Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Report House sends impeachment articles to Senate.
On this vote, the yeas are 228, the nays are 193. The resolution is adopted and without objection.
The House approving in a